Hello! Hi everybody! How we doing? Hi! Hi Mudkips! Hello, hello! Hello Lucas as well. I love you all. Lucas are very welcome. I like you. Hello, hello everybody. How are we? I hear that a few people are doing well. And I like that. I like that people are doing well. It's a very hard time of the year, and I appreciate that people are doing okay. Hi, Mudkips. Yes, it's nice to see you again. Mudkips, I like that you're becoming a bit of a regular here. It's cute. I like it. That one Pokemon quiz got ya. And now you're here forever. But we're back. We're back to the lesbians. You try to visit each time, and it's so appreciated. It's very sweet. I oh, I've been catching up on some DC stuff as well. It's been very fun. It's a thing you. I'm not British. Oh, I'm sorry, Mudkips. I'm actually from New Zealand. I'm not British. It keeps happening to me. People keep thinking I'm British. I feel like I've lied to you now because you do it specifically for British VTubers. I sound it. God, mate. Chips on the Barbie. Oh, what do I do? I need voice training, I guess. Oh, I wasn't here the other day, but congrats on the new model. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's so lovely being all expressive now. It's really very fun. It's the crown. Yes, we are still part of the Commonwealth, so I understand the influence is still going to be there. I guess that's true. I really need to rewatch this movie, this New Zealand movie. I don't think Australians and the British are two different things. Piranha, I'm not Australian, I'm New Zealand. It's a different country. Holy shit. The thing is, it could be anyone, but the thing is, the world likes throwing me towards the Brits. That's fair. I like, you know, why did you say that then? Jackie, thank you for understanding my suffering and hearing me in this trying moment. Oh, Kiwi doll. Yes, I am. Hang on, I've got the perfect expression for my suffering right now. Oh, the shrimp on the Barbie. Yes, thank you. You're here for me. Oh, she's here for me. It's okay, Jackie. You and me, we'll hold hands and just stare at them until they stop. I guess. I was completely blindsided by this whole situation. I'm not going to lie. Every time I think I should be used to it. I should be used to people thinking I'm British. I should be used to it. Come here, I'll hold you. Oh my god. Mwah. Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate it. So kind. So supportive in my difficult moments. Oh. Fuck, what was I saying? I've been completely thrown off. I really feel like I should be getting used to this whole British comparison, but I never am. Never. I'm sorry, I'm an ignorant oxalotl. That's okay, that means you can learn. You know? The first step of ignorance is acknowledging it, and the second step is learning. It's becoming educated, you know? Learning and growing. It's good. It's okay. It's just very funny that this keeps happening to me. You're intelligent, not wise. Hey! That's a lot of people. Wow. We here for everyone's growth era? Yes. Here in the Priscilla space, I am a big fan of people constantly like growing and improving themselves. It's a very important thing to be. Do not stagnate. Do not let yourself stagnate. Let yourself grow and improve. Maybe devolve. Sometimes it's normal to devolve and relapse on behaviors and such. But like, you're never stagnant, you know. God, I had like a whole thing I was going to say. Anyway, I've been recently watching like catching up on DC stuff, and it's been really fun. I'm enjoying the current era of DC. I watched the funny thing is that I'm an expert in political science and geography. Oh, Mudcaps, you are intelligent and not wise, aren't you? Yes, I am enjoying the current era of DC a bit. I have finished watching Creature Commandos. I really liked that. Really liked that. I felt when I first watched you, I thought you were Australian. That's a little bit less bad. I'm not gonna lie. Australia is my messy cousin. So it's not as bad, but it's still not. It's still not correct. Yeah. Yeah. I watched Creature. Oh, I forgot to put the sign up on my door. Hang on, chat. I'll be right back. I have a sign that I put on my door to let the family know, the people that I'm living with, that I am streaming, and I forgot to put it up. And I just got a message from my younger brother reminding me. Oop. I've got to reply. Oop, thank you. Usually I'm pretty good at that, but I guess I was just... We all forget things, you know? But yes, I've been watching a lot of DC lately. I finished watching Creature Commandos. I really liked that. I wasn't a huge fan of the Frankenstein's monster character, though. Like, I get the premise. It was done for comedy. But... it was also kind of weird. I don't like stalker characters that are done for comedy. Stalking is serious. At least there was a serious edge to him, but... I don't know. It wasn't quite perfect to me. It was a bit rough around the edges. And I get that there wasn't like much runtime for them to work with, so that makes a bit of sense. I also watched The Suicide Squad. The good one. The one with that in the title, you know? And that was a lot of fun. I really liked the Rat Girl. I liked Polka Dot Man a lot. Polka Dot Man was big for me. Polka Dot Man was like a big fave. I liked him a lot. I thought it was interesting that I thought the visual effect of putting his mother in every scene, the way they did, like, was really cool. Like, he can't escape what he's dealing with. I thought that was a really interesting visual effect. I liked that a lot. And I have just started watching Peacemaker last night. I'm up to I just finished episode 4 last night. And honestly, Vigilante, he's insane. He's not a sane person. But I like him. Like, Vigilante has a lot of problems, clearly. He's kind of needy, not gonna lie. Kind of needy. But like, as imperfect as the plan was, get you a man who will break into prison to kill your, like, horrific abuser, you know? I mean, he didn't break into prison. He committed a crime and got put in prison on purpose. But I kind of want to be that person in someone's life, you know? I want to bring that energy to my friends and family. That's so cool. That's genuinely awesome. Thank you for the head pets, Aki. Welcome in. Hi. I've just been talking about some things I've been watching. Oh, Mudkip. I've been working on YouTube. My editing software is being a bit of an ass. Oh, what software do you use? Hi, Potato. Hi, Hester. I keep calling you Potato, but everyone else calls you Hester, and I don't know if I'm the one doing it wrong or if it's just a quirk of nature. I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me. Ah, yes. I enjoy that energy greatly. Could see you doing that. Oh my god, Jackie, that's such a compliment. What are we, honestly? You're a victim to the horrors of a witness of murder. Clipchamp sucks. I have never heard of Clipchamp. I don't do a lot of editing. My limited energy, like, I'm trying to like exercise and shit more regularly, so my energy is a lot more limited. So editing is really not something that I can do, and still like have my own like recreational time. You know, I gotta include playtime. I can't only work. That would kill the soul. So I'm not familiar with Clipchamp, but I'm sorry your software fucking sucks, man. People call you both. Whatever you feel like. Okay, cool. I'll just be like unique and special because so many people call you Hester and I call you Potato. I'm just unique and special and cool like that. Your soul's been dead for years. Oh no! We said defrib. Beast. I've never used a defrib before. I think that'll be fun, Mudkip. We could do that. Work your soul up, you know? That's what defribs are for. I do have a heart monitor though. Not like one that's attached to me, but like one I can like that I keep in a box. And I take it out sometimes and I put it around my arm and I see where I'm at. Because my blood pressure kind of fucky wucky. I take meds for it, but it's good to check, you know. Keep an eye on if things are changing. They were like in every pharmacy for like a period of time, so they were really easy to buy. But they're nowhere now. I wonder what happened. Maybe people stopped buying them from the pharmacy because they bought everything they needed. Everyone who wanted one bought one, maybe. I don't know why you wouldn't want a blood pressure thingy like available. It's so useful. What just came out with them on it? Oh. Right. Okay. I don't have a fancy tech watch. I don't have a watch actually at all because I'm a sweaty bitch. So if I had something on my wrist all the time, it would be so grimy. It would be so gross. I couldn't. The murder victim thing didn't have anything to do with Clipchamp. Okay. What was the murder? I gotta know now. Tell me your secret. I want to be an accomplice to your horrible sighting. Come on. Kiki. I don't know. How accurate are those watches? Like, I think they must be sort of accurate, but I... Oh, shit! Oh, shit, Mudkip, that's actually real. Oh, my God. I was joking around. Jesus. Your half-brother was murdered by your mum's ex-boyfriend. Fuck! I'm sorry, man. That sucks. Jesus. I was goofing around and it was a real thing. Oopsie. You were in the next room. Oh my god, man. I'm sorry. Jeez. That's horrific. Yeah, exes. Damn. Some people just. Good. I'm glad he's never getting out. He should. Yeah. No, I'm glad. Why? Why do you want to meet him? Are you going to ask him why? Like, I mean, it's pretty obvious why, but I'm curious. What? I probably shouldn't be indulging in traumatizing discussion from the chat, but I fear I am who I am. Feel like you need to blame someone for the things which torment you? Oh. I don't think meeting him will bring you any catharsis, I'm sorry to say, Mudkip. I think you just need therapy, hun. I know that's easier said than done, but I think you need therapy and self-care and just discipline to take care of yourself. And that's easier said than done, but it's the truth. Anyway, lesbians. You don't love me. You don't love me. I just use him for his body. Yeah, yeah. I did listen to the new Baby No Money today. I am obsessed with that voice. I don't know who's doing that. Is that like Ethan, who's like said to be starring in the thing? I don't know. But lesbians. And Micah was left upon the ground, pale-faced, trembling, and all alone. Okay, so Henny's gotten out of here. Henny was taken out of the danger zone. We sacrificed us. So lesbians? So what is this game about besides lesbians? I was just about to tell you, babe. Don't worry. Don't you worry. I got you. So last time we were fleeing from a carriage because our parents, we were on the way to see our fiance. From what I've figured out, based on the names and of like places and people and things, I believe we're in Germany. I believe we are in Germany, because a lot of the language is Dutch. Which is German, I believe. Or the Netherlands. Thank you, Tempe. But I believe it's Germany just because there was the mention of something called Habsburg, and that sounds very German. But Dutch is specifically a West Germanic language anyway. So this is just my hypothesis that we're in Germany. It's a historical, slightly fantasy version of Germany. We were in a carriage, and in the middle of nowhere on our way to see our fiance. We'd seen him before in a few meetings, but we didn't really talk much. We were getting married because our parents didn't have money. We only have our name and title, you know? And we got attacked by bandits. Oops. Our parents are dead. And we had our lovely, dutiful maid, Henny. My new wife, Henny. My new wife, Henny. She grabbed us and pulled us out of the carriage, and we fled into the woods. Henny and Fanta. I don't know what that means, Endeavour. You're making a reference I don't know. How could you? Yeah, and Hennessy's alcohol. Oh, I would drink her juice. Sorry. Anyway. So Henny dragged us from the carriage and we ran out into the woods, but because we're a little noble lady who hasn't exercised much and spent most of her time in her house, dilly-dallying around, reading books, exercises and proper ladies, we don't do menial work. We weren't able to run for very long, and we almost got caught by the bandits because we fell over. But then this mysterious mysterious thing killed all the bandits, and we woke up in a jail cell in a basement in like a dungeon in a castle, and we heard some screaming. Henny was with us though, so she was fine. And then we don't know how much time passed, but it was dark the whole time. And then this beautiful woman appeared, and we figured out that she's a vampire. And she was like, visitors can't stay alive. They have trespassed on my territory. You have trespassed on my territory. I can't let you live. It would be very difficult if you let like the church and the army know about me. That would be really fucking annoying. But I will let the noble lady live because I'm also nobility and I care about that. And then we pull this ploy that Henny is actually the noble lady in disguise because it's dangerous, and we were doing like a subterfuge thing. So if we got attacked by bandits, Henny would be safe, so they wouldn't kill the maid, you know. And Henny got set free. I don't think the vampire believed our lie, but she thought it was amusing, you know. And so Henny has been dragged out, kicking and screaming about wanting to sacrifice herself for us. And now we're all alone here. We're all alone with this beautiful woman. And that's where we left off. And Micah was left upon the ground, pale-faced, trembling, and all alone. Ooh. Forced to marry Amanda she doesn't love, Micah despairs in her future. Oh! It's a trailer. Fuck, I forgot to put the music back on. I turned it off when I was in the starting soon screen because double music make my brain hurt. Thank you for the headpats, Fluffy. Hi. There's Henny. There's my wife. Oh, hydrate. Thank you. I was eating fruit snacks earlier. They were yummy. Strawberry and blueberry flavour. I'm mad I forgot to turn the music back on. I bet this is so hot. Oh. This is going to be so sexy. And so tragic. Ah. So we stuck, but not mad about it. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time. Okay, I'll turn the music back on now. I'm so mad I forgot. How could I? Ridiculous. The time passed at an agonizingly slow pace as Micah sat on the stone floor of her cell, with her legs demurely crossed. Without Henny to cheer her, the air felt colder than it had before, the shadows darker. Magdalena had taken Henny from the cell so abruptly she hadn't been afforded the chance to collect her scattered playing cards. Oh no! What will Henny do now? She'll have nothing to entertain herself. Wink. Now these cards were strewn upon the floor, red diamonds, red as Magdalena's eyes and coal black clubs. Micah caught the eyes of a nearby joker, his lips pulled into an unsettling smile, and shivered. She knew she was being paranoid, but she felt almost as if the card was mocking her. Micah reached out, fingers trembling, to grab the card, then flipped it over. She did not want to look at the joker's grinning face. She did not want to think either about Henny was doing or how she was feeling, and she certainly did not want to think of her own future. It would be easier to drive such musings from her mind, and yet, though Micah tried to keep her thoughts placid like the smooth surface of an untroubled lake, sinister queries, sharp-toothed like eels, writhed just beneath the surface. What would happen when Magdalena returned? Did she mean to kill Micah quickly? Or would she make her suffer first? Magdalene had seemed to derive great pleasure from her torture of the bandit's lady, but she had said she did not care to harm young ladies. Had she meant it? Micah could only hope. If Magdalena did mean to kill her, she would do so quickly. She had suffered enough for one night, no, for one lifetime. Micah, despite her heroism, did not want to die. The thought terrified her. When she imagined how Magdalena might kill her, a blade to the throat perhaps, poison, drowning, strangulation, her skin, which was now icy cold, rippled with goose flesh. She did not want to be stabbed or poisoned or drowned or choked. She wanted to live. Micah had read stories of knights and their exploits, but she was no chivalrous sir herself. She was a young woman, though not, as her mother might have reminded her, so very young any more. And she had little experience of the world beyond her parents' home. From an early age, Micah had been taught to hold her tongue, to hold her thoughts, to be sweet and pretty and patient, and above all else, pliant. She was not supposed to think for herself, let alone stand up for herself. It wasn't appropriate conduct for a lady. Micah had endured 25 years as such, living only to please her parents and her parents' esteemed visitors, and later, her parents' chosen fiancé. But it had not felt like living. The only times Micah felt herself were those when she played cards with Henny, or read her books, or sat up by her window at night and stared out into the garden. Micah was 25, almost 26, but she knew nothing of the world. She knew nothing of freedom. She had never truly lived. How then was she supposed to die? She could not pass on, surely, until she had at least been afforded the chance to visit some of the places she had read about in her stories. Such dreams had been all which had kept Micah going throughout her dreary days kept indoors. She had persevered, not for the sake of her present, which she had lamented, but the hopes of a better future, which waited beyond the horizon. Now Micah feared she would never be able to reach that future. Her life was to be curtailed before it could truly begin. She would never see any of the world now. Paris and Venice and Rome would remain a mystery to her. Exotic settings for stories and nothing more. It's okay, honey. Paris is really dirty. Like, there's rubbish everywhere. It sucks. You're fine. She had been born trapped, and now she would die. The only difference was it was no longer her parents entrapping her, but a monster. Had her 25 years thus far been a story, Micah thought bitterly, it would have been a hopelessly dull one, full of endless waiting, but precious little doing. Waiting to live. Waiting to die. Was there any difference between these two states, really, when all was said and done? There's no point crying about it. Micah muttered this under her breath in the dark, for her own peace of mind. There's no guarantee I would have been allowed to live even if Magdalena did set me free. I would have to return to her Gerhard, and we would wed, and then I would spend the rest of my days trapped in his house. Why are the roses caged? So, literally, she is caged in a jail cell in an old-fashioned castle dungeon. But in like the context of the story, she is trapped by her role in society. And she wishes to break free of it. So she's trapped by a lot of things. I think Micah is the rose. I would go from being a cloistered daughter to a cosseted wife. Cosseted? I don't know that word. Let's look it up, chat. My infamous let's look up the word moments. Cared for and protected in an overindulgent way. Like pampering. But like too much. Too much pampering. Is that any better? Really? In Micah's eyes, it would have been nothing but another form of imprisonment. The sentient rose? It's me! I'm the sentient rose! It was me all along! Actually, that's kind of genius. I am the rose, caged in a doll's body. I am the caged rose. I am the cage of roses. Walter had the money to travel anywhere. But whether he'd be willing to expend these funds on little jaunts for his housebound bored wife was doubtful. Perhaps it was better this way. Mike had no life, she knew, waiting for her beyond the walls of Magdalena's castle. She had never been able to live as she wanted. That being the case, she might as well die. She had nothing left to lose. The minutes passed by, each more intolerable than the last, until Micah was alerted by the sound of footsteps. The iron door which partitioned the cell from the hall opened with a scraping squeal, and once more Magdalena entered Micah's cell. Here she is! Though Magdalena had left with an unwilling Henny in tow, she was now alone. Henny had gone. Well, well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? How fare you, my dear captive? I do apologize for the wait. Oh, never mind about me. What about Henny? Did you set her free? Goodness me, your loyalty towards your lady is most profound. I was certain you'd be inquiring as to your own fate, but no. You seem only to care for her. You really ought to worry about yourself more, given the circumstances. But I shall endeavour to allay you of your worries. Endeavour mention! And it's the right one. Endeavour, look, 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 look. They spelled it right. I think he's still here. So often, whenever he is mentioned in these games, they don't spell it right. It's very ridiculous. I think he's still here. He is. Well, I'm sure he's seen. I did indeed set your mistress free. I escorted her to the entrance of my home, then bid her on her merry way. Why do you ask? Do you not trust me? You've done little to deserve it, given the way you've treated Henny and I, but, oh, I'm so glad to hear it. I only hope that Henny will be all right on her own. That remains to be seen. I might have set her free, but there's no guarantee she'll be able to find her way to Augsburg, not in the dark with all this fog. These woods are dense, and the paths not clearly signposted. It would come as no surprise if she would find herself lost, or else at the mercy of wild animals. This forest is fair teeming with wolves. Did you know that? Wolves? Oh, yes. This forest is just as much their territory as it's mine, and they often come out at night to hunt. Bandits aren't the only things fair ladies have to watch out for. But if your lady friend is resourceful and luck is on her side, she should emerge from this trial unscathed. Let us hope that she'll be all right, shall we? Micah said nothing to this, but instead dropped her gaze, her irises fixed upon her knees. Her mind turned, not to her own indeterminate fate, but to Henny, who would now be staggering through the woods, wreathed in ephemeral fog. Micah saw Henny backed against a copse of trees. Copes? I think it's copes. Let me look that up. Copes. No, that's Vopes. Hang on. Copes pronounce.
Cops.
It is cops. Oh, how weird. I guess that makes sense, I guess. Their branches slender, sinister, as a pack of hungry wolves bore down upon her, their eyes glistening madly in the moonlight. But this was only one possibility. Magdalene had said Henny would need luck on her side, and Henny had that in spades, if her performance in Joker was anything to be believed. She had always been better at cards than Micah. Now, enough about Lady Henrique. Henrique. Am I saying that right? Another word I'm not sure about. Let's look it up. Pronounce. How to pronounce. Henrica. I wasn't that far off. Henrica. She is no longer my captive, and as such is of little interest to me. I would far rather speak to you. To me? Yes, indeed. I have designs on you, my loyal little serving girl. I do hope you'll make yourself useful during your stay. Designs? Then you mean... Micah pressed her fingers to the base of her throat. She could feel her pulse beating beneath the surface of her coarse skin, as erratic as a rabbit's caught in a snare. Every time there's a big word or name, my dumbass always has to look it up how to pronounce. Hey, at least we're looking it up. At least we're trying. So many people just don't bother trying. You know? I see so many people who just like, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. They don't even consider like trying to learn how to pronounce things. They just go, that's too difficult. I'll never learn how to pronounce it. And it's really disrespectful because often it's a name. And like, that's a name. What? Anyway. Do you wish to drain me of my blood? Do you want me to drain you of your blood? Magdalena tittered. How very eager you are. It is not that. Do not misunderstand. I wish only, if you mean to kill me, that you would do so quickly. I've grown sick of waiting. Oh, yes. That look in your eyes is delectable, and maybe even more so. Maybe more so even than your blood. You're so very defiant. But what is this I spy? You appear to be shaking, my poor little Micah. That is because of the cold. And not because of your fright? I was able to protect my dear friend. I've nothing to be afraid of now. Then, you care nothing for your own life? I've never been afforded a life. You may take it if you wish. You wouldn't be the only one. Ah, yes. That is the fate, or so I have heard, of being a servant. You poor dear. Magdalena's red eyes softened, and for a moment Micah wondered whether she could not see a trace of sympathy upon her captor's fair face. It lasted only a second, however, before it faded. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm afraid I can't comply with your request. For the moment, that is. I will drain your blood in due course, but I've no desire to do so now. The bandits I encountered earlier made for a more than satisfactory meal. I am so glutted, I do not think I could drink another drop of blood. Then you mean to draw this farce out longer still? I'll draw it for as long as I wish until I'm sufficiently thirsty. There seems little sense in overindulging. I'm sure that your blood would taste sweeter than a bandit's, but that only makes it more imperative that I save you until I truly want you. Though it was Micah's death Magdalena spoke of, there seemed something sultry, seductive even, in the way she stressed her words. Micah, who was unused to being wanted, found the blood pooling beneath her cheeks, despite the chill which clung to her. How would it feel when Magdalena brought her lips to her neck? Would it hurt? She supposed it would feel a prickling sensation, as Magdalena's teeth sunk into her flesh, and then... Now, won't you come with me? You'll catch your death of cold staying inside this dreary cell, and then you'll be of no use to anybody. If I am to enjoy you properly, I'd prefer to do so while your body is still warm. What? Micah looked at Magdalena, her blue eyes uncomprehending. Are you really letting me go? In a manner of speaking, yes. Though I'll only be transporting you from one prison to another. As your hostess, I don't believe that these quarters are wholly appropriate for a long-term stay, especially not for a fair maiden such as yourself. You will be in my abode for several days yet, I fear, until I have further need of you. Until then, I would like you to live in some measure of comfort. How unexpected. I didn't know that you were so gracious. I can be. I've hidden depths, much like the forest that surrounds my humble abode. I don't know if I've mentioned it yet, but nice new model. Thank you! I'm very happy with it. It's very fun. I am so cute. I do so hate to see you shiver so, and your skin is so pale, poor dear. You and I could almost be sisters. White skin may be fitting for us vampires, but it isn't so for fair maidens. Not even the fairest in all the land. Now please, follow me. I doubt you have any real wish to stay here languishing unless you mean to make a further martyr of yourself. No, Micah bit her lower lip. She was loath to accept kindness from Magdalena, but she did raise a fair point. It was cold in her cell, and miserable alongside it. If she remained there overnight, it did not seem impossible that the blood in her veins really might freeze.
Oh.
Micah had already given up on her own life, but she did not want to die as a stray dog, racked with shivers. You saw me shuffle. Thank you for the posture check, Jackie. I really need to move my mic. It's causing problems for a lot of my posture during these things. And thank you for the hydrate too. Oh no, my model's freaking out. Oh no! Oh, thank you for the hydrate, potato. Is this... Oh my god, it's... Oh. Oh, yeah, okay, it's 2. 1. 2. Stay healthy. Yeah. I need to figure out where I will attach my mic if I, move it. That's the big thing. Because it's currently... Give Hina a treat. After stream. I'm on a roll. I'm enjoying myself. Hi, Diva. Hello. It's currently hanging over my computer screen. Which isn't bad. I can, see through it. You know, in that funny way your eyes do. But it is kind of... It does mean that I kind of have to lean forward a little bit because the arm isn't super long. I wouldn't want it to be super long, but it is what it is. So I'm kind of thinking of changing it so it comes around the side. I think that would work a lot better. If that is what you want from me, then I've no reason to refuse. How very biddable you are. The words which come from your mouth might be stubborn, but it seems you've experience when it comes to following orders. Of course I do. I'm a maid, like I said. Ah, yes. So you did. That would explain your civility. Part of me was hoping you might refuse, so that I would be bidden to carry you. But this is fine, too. It spares me the effort. Shall we? Please, lead the way. Micah dropped Magdalena a curtsy, this time taking her dirtied skirts between her fingers, the pads of which had turned pink from the cold. Magdalena smiled at this display. For a prisoner, you're awfully cheeky, then turned upon her heel after bidding Micah to follow. Naturally, Micah obeyed. She could see she had little choice in the matter. See, currently I'm not trying to wink, but my mic is getting in the way of the camera. Right about there is when it starts happening. You refuse to walk, your feet don't work? Oh no! I can't walk and only this beautiful vampire woman is able to carry me. Oh no! Magdalena led Micah down a twisting hallway packed full of cells identical to the one Micah and Henny had been imprisoned in. Micah tried not to peer into these cells as she passed them, but curiosity soon overcame her and she found her head swiveling. She feared, as she stared through the darkness, that she might encounter sights more horrific than she was capable of comprehending. Rusted torture instruments, perhaps, or dead bodies. But it was so very dark in the bowels of Magdalena's home that Micah could scarcely see anything. Not even the moonlight, which spilled intermittently through the barred windows, could fully illuminate the sprawling prison complex. This, Micah supposed, tearing her eyes away from one of the cells as she passed it, was probably a good thing. She had witnessed enough horrors for one night. Magdalena eventually brought Micah to the foot of a staircase which led up from her subterranean cells. Careful, Magdalena cautioned Micah before they began their ascent. These steps are steep and slippery too. If you fall, you may break your neck. Had Micah been less nervous, she might have laughed to hear her jailer fuss over her so. A broken neck didn't seem like so very cruel a fate when compared to Magdalena's designs upon her. Perhaps it would be quicker to die thus, rather than having her blood drained. At the very least, it would be a swifter demise than freezing in her prison cell. Micah felt little in the way of humour, however, as she took the chill banister beneath her right hand and began to climb. She could recognize the irony in Magdalena's warning, though only vaguely. Her mouth felt hewn into a permanent line, as though carved from stone, her brow furrowed. It seemed unlikely she would ever smile again. The chill of the basement faded as Micah cleared the final step of the twisting staircase to emerge in a spacious hallway lined with arched windows. The hallway is not so very dissimilar in decor to her parents' home, though it was less ornate, the furnishings worn down by old age. It was apparent that Magdalena's home had once been noble, but it had clearly fallen to rot and ruin, its heyday long since past. The air in the ground floor smelt almost as rank as that in the dungeon, and every conceivable surface was heaped with inches of dust. Ew. I don't know if I would want to go home with this woman, actually. Yeah, vampires probably aren't very good at cleaning. No, actually, don't bring a vampire, guys. Their place is probably a mess. There's probably, like, old blood bags everywhere. It's disgusting, I bet. There was so much dust, in fact, that Micah could feel it in the air when she inhaled. The dust irritated her eyes and nose and laid heavily, unpleasantly, upon her tongue. Micah swallowed, hoping to void her mouth of the taste of decay, but in vain. Bet you live like this. Right! It's the bitch you live like this meme, for real. I might make that later. That edit later, if I get a good... I could snip a good picture of Magdalena and Micah in a bit. The dust was so thick she sneezed, which prompted Magdalena to say, "Oh, perfect! This is just what I wanted. Hang on. I got this. Hang on. Get one of Micah. For prepping for future memeing. And one of Magdalena. Oh, I didn't get her full picture. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, now I have snips of both of them. I can make that meme later. Bless you. Thank you, Micah replied abashed, and then, "I thought you did not care for God or his teachings." "I don't. But I presume that you do. I thought she might appreciate it." "I see. How very thoughtful of you." "I know. For a vampire, I'm unusually sensitive." Mute with fatigue, Micah continued to follow Magdalena to the end of the hall, wherein a wooden door was inlaid. Magdalena seized the brass handle and twisted it, then pushed it ajar. It stuck for a few moments, as though unwilling to move, but soon shifted, creaking as it did so. When the door swung back, it was to reveal a vast, spacious room with a ceiling so cavernous Micah had to crane her neck to see it. A large ornate staircase was set in the centre of the room, which rose to the floor above it, the banisters made of wrought iron. This, Micah supposed, must have been the entrance hall. It had clearly been designed to impress, for its vastness was almost dizzying. Micah's home, could it really be a castle? Was larger even than Micah's, Magdalena's home rather, and vast enough to be unnerving. Trapped within this scene of spoilt luxury, Micah felt smaller than ever before. A tiny doll rather than a grown woman, rattling about in a playhouse. The entrance hall must have been fine once, but it showed clear signs of deterioration. The dust was so profuse that it made Micah's eyes water, and several of the stone steps which led upwards were cracked and chipped. A grand piano could be found in one corner of the room, but its lid was shut, and Micah doubted it had been played, if it could still be played, in decades. Do I tell the story of what we found? So, my family has had this piano. It's pretty shit. It's recently been like torn to pieces because it's like none of it's salvageable except for like the little bits of ivory and ebony from the actual keys. Those are salvageable, nothing else. So, but the piano seat is still a very good condition. And it's one of those piano seats which has like a lid so you can store things in the seat. And so we hadn't opened it since we inherited it from my father's side of the family. And when we opened the piano seat, we found a bunch of songbooks. And one of the songbooks was literally there were songs in it with the N-word, we'll say that. Like old-fashioned racist hymns or whatever the fuck. And I was like, and everyone was like, what the fuck? Everyone was losing their mind over it because they were like, do we burn it? What the fuck do we do? I was all for burning it. Honestly. Yeah, old music. Crazy shit. And my father was incredibly surprised and horrified, but I had to talk with my mother later about this. And she was like, yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I know what his family's like. They suck. And I was like, yep. It's not surprising. It's not. No. Oh my god. What a fucking find though. Jesus Christ. A very obvious sign that we were never really into having a piano and we didn't really find any use for it. If there was that just sitting in the piano seat and we had no idea it was there. Crazy. Saw them hymns coming down the church pews, huh? Yep. God damn. Oh. The thing about it is Dad never realizes how bad his family is. Ever. He's never gonna realize. And this is because he's one of those people who will stick with their family even when their family hits them. Or doesn't feed them. Or has makes them and there's nothing wrong with having complex relationships to your trauma, but when you expose your children to family members like that who have done that kind of thing to you, and you see nothing wrong with that, that's an issue. We weren't around his family enough for anything to happen, but boy, the vibes were bad. They were definitely pretending to be nice, and they were able to keep up the act because we didn't see them for long enough, you know? You know what I mean? They've never been good people, ever. Well, his father was good, but he got baby trapped, and I'm pretty sure he was assaulted. I should stop. This is getting a bit heavy. Are vampires just squatters? I feel like she didn't really originally own the castle and just started living there. I think she did originally own the castle. I think she just doesn't... the fact that she isn't a servant means she's never cleaned it, you know? Nobility don't do that. They straight up do not do that. There could be mold and she would never clean the place. That's just how they do it. They don't clean. They don't. Throw them out the door with the church music, yeah, yeet. Yeah, there's a reason I don't talk to any of my extended family. My mother's side of the family is sometimes okay. Some of them's okay. Her sister and her sister's family are decent, but that's about it. I should be reading my Yuri. There was a chandelier in the entrance hall hanging aloft from the high ceiling, but when Micah craned her neck upwards, she could see, even in the dark, that it was festooned with spiderwebs. Festooned! I love that word. Guys, do you know the word festooned? It's a really good word. Let me get you the exact definition so you can use it appropriately. Festooned. Adorned with chains, garlands, or other decorations. So the spiderwebs are on there so beautifully. They're decorations, they're just festooned, you know? It's a fun word, I like it. The house might have been grand once, but it was not so now. It seemed a wonder, really, that it still stood when clearly it was uncared for. Your servants don't seem to be working very hard. Micah spoke lightly, her voice swallowed by empty air. Perhaps you ought to see to hiring new staff. My mistress would never permit. That's why she can't clean, gotta keep the aesthetic. Honestly, you might be onto something. I think she's just lazy, though. Micah brought her hand to the banister of the grand staircase, then drew it back, wincing. The pads of her thumb and index finger were fuzzy with dust. Ew. This. Oh? Magdalena, who had already begun to ascend the staircase, turned to look at Micah and smiled. Are you judging my home, Micah? I would never presume to be so rude. I just thought it might feel more homey, that's all, if it were less of a pile. Magdalena laughed, then shook her head. You are quite right, of course, to judge. Please, judge away to your heart's content. Strong jacket came here, by the way. Yeah, it's a fucking amazing jacket on this, on Magdalena. Like, look at her go. Power. Micah is wearing a full blue dress. That isn't a jacket, but I appreciate your solidarity with with Magdalena's cool jacket. I'm getting them mixed up because they're both M names, and it's a problem. I'm sorry. I've never been a big fan of this place. Its scale is too grandiose even for my liking. My great-grandfather, it was he who had this place built, had more money than sense and absolutely no taste to back it up. A house has no need to be this large. But there was land enough for it, and money too. And when a man has land and money, it means he will often think, well, why not? Practicality matters little in the decisions of great men, and neither, to my unending woe, does aesthetic sense. I can believe that. My own father, my master, rather. Micah's face flushed at the scaff, the tips of her ears turning pink. Half filled my own residence with pointless baubles. They were all very expensive, but not particularly cohesive. The parlour looked like a museum once he was through with it. It hardly seemed like a place to sit and relax. I was too afraid to spend any measure of time in there in case I broke something. Then it seems we have something in common. I found this place dismal even when my family was alive, and we had a legion of maids back then to keep everything spick and span. They kept the dust and the cobwebs at bay, bless their hearts, but they couldn't combat the loneliness. Now my family is dead, and all our maids along with them. I can hardly take on new hires, being what I am. So my home was rather left to go to ruin. I clean what I can, but there's so very much house to clean, and only one of me. It's quite the overwhelming challenge. Oh, she's not lazy. It's just a whole fucking castle, and she's one woman. I see. That makes sense. It's very hard to clean a whole ass castle when you're only one person. My attempts at cleaning have fallen quite by the wayside during the last half a century. I hope you can forgive my slovenliness. I'm not sure I like how I'm saying that. Slovenliness. There we go. But now she got a cute maid. Yes. Oh no, it's fine. I understand. You're too kind. Magdalena's red eyes softened as they head back in the dungeon, with something akin to sympathy. But before Micah could ponder this, her jailer turned. Oh, listen to me prattle on. It is most inconsiderate of me, especially when you must be tired. Let us make haste to your room. Micah followed behind Magdalena as a puppy might, almost grateful to her for the promise of a room and of a bed. It was as Magdalena had said. She really did feel tired. She was more than ready to lie down beneath warm covers, or even lukewarm covers, and sleep. Anything would have been better than the stone floor upon which she had been lying. Micah yawned, her eyes blossoming with tears anew, while pressing her right hand, fingertips still flecked with dust, instinctively to her mouth. Oh? But half asleep though she was, Micah's senses were alert enough for her to detect a sudden noise. There came, through the yawning gulf of the entrance hall, a sound not dissimilar to that Micah had heard in the dungeon. It was a scream. Or was it? Micah was unsure. The scream was fainter than the one she had The The scream was fainter than the one she had detected in the dungeon and seemed to emit not from the ground under which the cells lay, but above her head. Was there another person concealed in Magdalena's abode? Somebody other than herself? Was it another captive, kept separate from the rest? Was it Henny? Wife? Magdalena. Lena, please. Oh, nicknames already. Magdalena's quite the mouthful. Is she now? I would rather use a nickname, as you did with your mistress. Micah wished to contest this. Her relationship with Magdalena wasn't close enough to allow the use of nicknames. But she felt too tired to engage in an argument. What did it matter, really, how she addressed Magdalena when soon she would be dead? Lena, then. What was that noise I just heard? What noise? You didn't hear it? Micah stared at Magdalena, her expression of one of patient disbelief. Wasn't very loud, I'll grant you, but it was unmistakable. I swear it sounded just like a scream. A scream, Magdalena pondered, one hand beneath her chin. Such sounds are not unheard of in my abode when I'm attending to a prisoner. Micah shivered. But there is nobody here now except me and you. Nobody living, at least. Then it's not the imprisoned bandit? Certainly not. He will never make a peep again. I made sure of that with my own 2 hands. It would be hard for him to speak with half his throat torn out, you see. Oh! Micah pressed a hand to her own throat as if to check its integrity, and as she did so, choked. The air was so thick with dust it was hard to breathe. Now, dear, worry not. It was not your mistress who screamed thus, if that is what you are wondering. I am a woman of my word, and I promise I let her go. She is quite, well, she's not necessarily all right, but she is away from me, and there is the possibility that she might live to see another dawn. Then who screamed? What was that sound? It must have been your imagination. You have overexerted yourself after this night's events. Anybody would be exhausted in your situation. It didn't feel like a dream, though. No? Magdalena shrugged in a manner which did not seem in keeping with her aristocratic bearing. I suppose it must have been the wind, then. It is very draughty in here. Is that all? That's all it could have been. Unless you mean to suggest that the dead can speak. Magdalena's red eyes bored into Micah, so intense Micah feared they would consume her. Unsettled, Micah glanced away. No, I wasn't suggesting that. Good. I know it is unexpected for women to lose their minds at the drop of a hat, but I've grown quite sick of being regarded as the weaker sex. I'm pleased to see you're doing your level best not to let us down. Why, you haven't swooned even once, which is more than what most men can say when I bring them here. It's really quite commendable. You might swoon, though, from a lack of sleep if we continue to tarry. Let us be off, or we shall never make it to our destination. So you know how there was a time period where everyone was like swooning? Like they were fainting over everything? It turns out, like I found this out recently. A lot of women were taking advantage of the fact that they were seen as weaker and frail because of their sex to faint over things that upset them slightly. Like pretend to faint over things that upset them slightly. Also, sorry for the can. I'm getting my energy drink. To get out of shit they didn't want to do. Like if they had to go to a social party and the ex was there, they would faint and then they could go home. I love it. I tried to do that for a time because I had epilepsy, so I tried to pretend I was having seizures and so I could just go home. Very hard to pretend you're having a seizure when you don't know what seizures look like because you're the one having them. It's a bit easy to have seizures when you know what they look like. But it's still quite difficult, I imagine. An awkward the creepy man in the garden, now I'll possum and go home. Exactly! They would, like, if they have to, like, it's proper, I've heard, that they would just faint and then they could go home. I think that's so funny. And honestly, it's so cool. It's really nice seeing the ways that women were dealing with situations throughout history. Like hat pins. You guys know hat pins, right? They were often, like, decorated to be very fashionable and to match their hats and be very pretty. But they were very much a long metal sharp spike that you could use to defend yourself. But they were fashioned, so everyone was allowed to use them. There were, like, newspaper articles about women stabbing people who touched them, you know. It was very cool. It reminds me of a lot of those, like, oh, is your faint game storm? I heard Herbert was going to do the party, might need an escape plan. Girl, I need to practice my faint game. I'm rusty. I'm out of practice. You know what? I could probably just trigger seizures if I wanted to. That could be my faint game. I just think about something that, like, triggers me for long enough and I'll probably, like, start getting dizzy. That'll work, right? That's the modern equivalent, surely. I don't like having seizures. As most people having seizures will understand, I don't like it. However, if I can get some use out of them, that'd be nice. People don't think I'm an oracle. I'm not in the right time period to be like, yes, I see visions when I have seizures. It's an oracle thing. So I should at least be able to, like, use them to get out of shit. You know? You get it. You get it, chat. Let us be off, or we shall never make it to our destination. Nah, our girl here doesn't faint or swoon. She's stronger than the men. She's too cool. Micah don't faint. She don't do that shit. She's a solid woman. Micah nodded, then followed along behind her hostess and knew. She could no longer hear the scream, but its memory haunted her all the same. The cry she had heard, though, briefly, had not sounded like the breeze, regardless of what Magdalena had said. Micah was certain that it belonged to a person, but why would Magdalena lie about something, such a thing? It was impossible to say. Here we are. Home, sweet home. Hang on. Oh, that furniture is old-fashioned. Like, proper old-fashioned time period stuff. Look at the bed. You can't because Magdalena's in the way. But that's like a really nice old bed. That's proper. That's how they looked. Sorry, I'm itching my nose. So my model might be weird. She's reacting. Oh no, she's reacting. Here we are. Home, sweet home. I said that, didn't I? Oops. So, Magdalena looks at Micah, an amused smile playing about her lips. What do you think? Micah examined the room mutely, her hands folded at her front. The chamber Magdalena had brought to her was dark, lit only by a pair of candles on either side of the bed. Micah could see, despite the darkness, that it was every bit as derelict as the rest of Magdalena's home, and even if she hadn't been able to see it, she would have been able to smell it. The air was fusty, as though it had been left to circulate inside the room for years upon end, which it most likely had. Every surface, meanwhile, was covered in dust. The sheets upon the bed, though neatly made, were wholly with age and with insects, as was the carpet upon the floor. It was a sad room, which had been ignorant of human occupation for years, but it was still a superior set of lodgings to those in which Micah had awoken. At least this room had a bed. A four-poster one, no less, like the one at Micah's home. Oh, I would love Oh, that sounds nice. A nice big bed. I'm still on a single bed. It is what it is. With a mattress and sheets upon which Micah could rest her weary limbs. The bedchamber had a wardrobe too, though Micah possessed nothing to store it in save for the tattered clothes upon her own back. There was a writing desk upon which lay a basin for washing and a chamber pot for more delicate business beneath. The pot was thankfully far cleaner than the one Micah had found in the dungeon. So white and spotless she imagined it unused. The desk faced a large window which was currently obscured by a set of dark blue curtains. Micah could not see beyond this window, though she doubted she would have been afforded much of a view even if she had drawn the curtains back. It was very late after all. It was not as cold in this room as it was in the underground cells, but it wasn't warm either. The wind crept in through fine cracks in the aged windows to toy with the reddish-orange flames of the two lit candles. To toy, too, with Micah's hair and the hem of her dress. She shivered. Do you not have a tongue in your head? Magdalena needled Micah, who had yet to speak. Don't tell me you've come over all shy. I brought you to this room solely that you might sleep. I have no wicked designs on your innocence, regardless of how pretty you are. I only want your blood, not your body. I beg your pardon? Micah blinked at Magdalena, uncomprehending. What designs are you speaking of? You cannot tell? I'm sure I've no idea. None whatsoever? None at all. I'm wholly ignorant of such affairs. Goodness me! Magdalena rolled her red eyes upwards to the ceiling, which seemed to sag beneath its own weight. I can't tell whether you are being dense on purpose or whether you really are that innocent. Did your mother never teach you what men and women do in chambers such as this? My mother did not, no. She thought such topics beneath her. That was my governess's job, although I don't think I would care to do much of anything in a chamber like this one. It smells like the grave. Tut tut. You're being rather rude about my home, you know. Here I am trying to be a good hostess, and you throw my kindness back in my face. I know you do not like your home much either, you told me. Touché. I did try to pick out one of the pleasanter rooms for you, but there are so very many of them, it is difficult to keep abreast of them all. I rarely have visitors over, and when I do, they all get thrown into the dungeon. There seems little point, therefore, in keeping these rooms spick and span. Hope you can forgive all the dust and general disuse. Oh, I've more to take issue with than that. Yes, I suppose you do. You must have quite the bone to pick with me. Maybe I do. But not right now. I'm too tired. Yes, you do look it. Your face is frightfully pale. I think a good night's sleep is what the doctor ordered. Provided you are able to rest, that is. That would be nice, but... Micah let her fingers trail along the brocaded covers of the bed. Her expression pensive. What did you mean earlier when you said you'd had no designs on my innocence? Damn me, I thought that we were joking. But I can see that you're in no fit state for it. I don't tell jokes. I've little to laugh about. And you have even less to laugh about now, you poor dear. Magdalena cleared her throat. I meant only to say that I would not do unto you as a man might, regardless of our surroundings. I've no nefarious intentions, of that you can be assured. Oh no! Chet, they're not gonna fuck. They're not gonna fuck this episode. Chat, it's over. I'm gonna crash. I'm gonna crash out. Oh. Truly, truly, we're doomed. That's it. Game over. Game over. They're not fucking. We can't be doing this today. No, we need to find a different game. Ugh. Micah thought of her governess's explanation of sex, and of Walter's expectations on their wedding night, and flushed. If the sudden rush of blood beneath her cheeks enticed Magdalena in any way, she did not show it, though her fingers did twitch in their tight, constricting gloves. I don't understand. I know what men and women do behind closed doors, but how could two women set about something similar? It's not possible. You think so? I know so. My governess explained everything to me in great detail. When one wishes to make a baby, well, two women cannot do that. There would be no sense to it. And you think people ought to do things only because they make sense? That is quite narrow-minded. But people are often uneducated in such affairs, both in my time and your own. In some ways the world has changed a great deal, yet in others... Well, never mind. I can see I'm only confusing you. You're so very innocent it hurts. Perhaps it is to be expected, though. Ladies ought not to know of such things. They are born and bred to be ignorant. What? Micah had not understood the full implications of Magdalena's previous lament, but she understood well enough what she meant by this. Why would you call me that? I already told you I'm not a lady, I am Lady Henrique's faithful servant. Yes, you did say. And that's true, she is the lady, not I. You did labour that point quite intensely, yes, back in the cells. You were so fervent about it, you almost had me fooled. At least you would have, if you weren't such a terrible actress. I knew it! I knew it! I knew she never believed us. It's ridiculous. What? Oh, don't what me. It's quite tiresome. Did you think I'd fail to notice all your fancy turns of phrase? Your vocabulary is that of a well-to-do young madam, not a maid, not even a lady's maid. You wear that sumptuous dress of yours, easily dirtied though it is, and your bearing is definitively regal. You could never hope to pass as a common serving girl, not in a month of Sundays. I'm not stupid. Then Micah sank down on the bed, which creaked beneath her as if in warning. Her palms were pressed to the mattress to support her weight, which all of a sudden felt excessive, and her heart was pounding like a drum. You knew I was lying from the very beginning? Indeed I did. It was very obvious. I can tell you have no practice in deceit, Micah. You're much too sweet for it. But if you knew I was lying, why did you agree to let Henny go? Herr Gerhardt wouldn't lift a finger to aid Henny if she disappeared, but he will surely come looking for me. Herr Gerhardt? Is that the name of your fiancé? Yes, it is. And you don't refer to him by his Christian name? That is... Dear me, you mustn't be very close to the man. Why, you make him sound like a stranger. Do you truly wish to marry him? I hadn't any choice, my parents... Ah, yes. It was silly of me to ask. That is how it always goes, isn't it? And what of your fiancé? Does he know you well enough to try and rescue you? I think he might. Micah swallowed, tasting dust on her tongue. He's an important businessman. He takes exacting care over his investments, or so I've heard. I imagine it would be the same for me, too. I am a Von Essen, after all. There would be a lot of prestige in wedding me. So that's how he regards you? As a profitable purchase? I cannot say. After all, I hardly know him and therefore cannot judge how he sees you. Does it sum it up? It is not entirely inaccurate, no. Humph. What a woeful state of affairs this is. It sounds like you'd be wretched whether you're in my home or out of it, particularly if the latter would entail being by this Herr Gerhardt's side. Perhaps I did you a favour by bringing you here. Micah did not reply to this. She did not want to give Magdalena the satisfaction. Well, never mind all that. Your fiancé can try to look for you if he likes, but I do not care. I doubt he would be able to best me. But you said you wished to avoid all that. Did I really? Yes, you did. That's why you proposed letting me go. Oh, yes, good memory. It would seem the cold hasn't eaten away at all your faculties. Not just yet, at least. As for why I changed my mind, well, that needn't concern you. But this is about me. Surely it must concern me. Oh, there was no real reason behind it. It was nothing more than an act of whimsy on my behalf. If you truly want to know why I went along with your chicanery, then... Chicanery is another really good word. Chicanery is another really good word, guys. Chicanery. Tomfoolery, I think. I think it's like tomfoolery. I believe it is. Chicanery. The use of deception. Yes, yes, yes. Chicanery. Vampire lesbians, I rise. Hi, Shale. How you doing, girl? Let us say that I felt touched when you offered to throw your life away for the sake of your maid. Few mistresses would be capable of such compassion. It was truly remarkable. I didn't want your efforts to be in vain, that's all. And you are prepared to put yourself in danger for that? You're a little tired, but your body's been refusing to let you sleep in. Ugh, I've been there, girl. It is what it is sometimes, ain't it? Take it easy today, at least. Even if your body won't let you sleep, you should try and take it easy. I won't be in any danger. I'm a vampire. I can shatter rib cages with a single touch. Or thereabouts, at least. Oh, my nose is so itchy today. Now, you really must get some sleep. It will be much better for you than asking all of these silly questions. But I've nothing to change into. What will I sleep in? I considered as much and took the liberty of stocking these drawers with some of my own clothes before I fetched you. Ah, thank you for the head pat, Shale. Thank you, thank you. You should find that they fit, more or less, and they're clean, which is more than can be said for the rest of the linens in this place. There are books on the shelves too, which you may read, and I drew up a basin of water for you to wash yourself in upon waking. You could find no better amenities than any inn. Hi, Hydra! Priscilla, you got a new model? Yes! It's actually been, like, sitting in the folders for, like, a couple of months. But I wanted to debut on Halloween because it felt right. I'm a cat girl now. I'm a kitty. I'm a kitty cat girl. I'm still a doll, but I'm also a cat girl. You know. Hehe. Ah! I love it. Very cute, but still baddie, bitch. Yes! Thank you! I'm gonna put my cute toggles on. My favorite toggles. These are my favorite toggles. We're gonna wear these. We're gonna wear these for the rest of the playthrough. I'm gonna wear these for the rest of stream because these are my favorite ones. Hehe. I do hope you have a pleasant night and sweet dreams. Magdalena smiled sardonically, then dropped to Micah another curtsy. Just try not to breathe in through your nose if the smell bothers you. I wouldn't want you to spend the night coughing. A fair lady such as you needs her sleep. Laughing to herself, Magdalena straightened, then turned. She departed, her long cloak trailing against the age-spotted carpet, and shut the door behind her. Hi, Romujo! Hello! How you doing? I met Romujo in FF14 the other day. Well, not the other day. I met her a couple of weeks ago, and we traded socials the other day. I'm good. What about you? I'm pretty good. I'm having a good day. I need to, I have a lot of things I need to record of stream. But that's okay. And I actually need to finish, I need to really crack on to my law script. I've decided I'm going to format it from the, as like a scientist's journal. You know those like, you know how you find like documents in like video games and stuff, which are just like, day one, the creature is like, we found this cool thing and we're gonna study it and poke it and stuff and maybe torture it a bit. And then like at the last entry, it's like, I created the worst thing in the world. Oh, I'm gonna die now. I hope the world survives with this thing. That sort of thing, you know? That sort of format. I think that's what I'm gonna go for. I feel like that's the best vibe. And I think I'll try and get some like sketchy artwork. I need to find a good artist for this very specific, like a researcher's log type. Yes, exactly. Love this expression you're doing. I'm a big fan too. It's actually like 3 toggles. It's my blushy toggle, my blood toggle, and my little hands, my cute hands. Yes, like a researcher's log. I'm actually, I don't think I'll release the love video until I do, my law upgrade model, like my progress model. Like, as I grow, my model is going to change. And I do have an idea for my first, sort of growth update that I need to like figure out a bit more and sketch it out a bit more, and like obviously get the money, get that back so I can make it happen. But I want to release that model update, a lore update, and the lore video at the same time, so it's a combo deal, like real like very cool. You know, I thought that was why I didn't want to say anything. Didn't want mine spoiled for asking questions. Very wise, Hydra. Very wise. Survival instincts on you. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually like something that's trapped in the doll. So as I grow and gain power, I gain the power to break out of the doll body, you know? So, my model is gonna start breaking, and we're gonna see what's in there a bit more over time. Hi Zach, how you doing? You're late. Only a little bit. Only like an hour. Only an hour 40. Hi. I am very excited. That's part of the reason why I spent I say that I spent like months planning out Priscilla character before I actually started getting materials sorted for her, like the models, the early model, and overlays and stuff, because I wanted to really know what I was doing. That's part of the reason it took so long, not just the design work. It's like 11:30 a.m. and I just woke up. That's fine. You're allowed to have a sleeping boy. It's a-okay. Hell yeah, so cool. Yeah, I'm excited. Also, Shale, thank you for the stretchies and the hydrate. I do appreciate. I do like that it's well thought out. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, my big stretch. I clicked my elbow. That's a good sign, right? I'm getting sidetracked. I was reading. Micah waited until she heard Magdalena's footsteps fade, then rose once more to her feet. She crossed the room, her legs trembling, and seized the doorknob between her fingers, but it stubbornly refused to budge. The door was locked. Well, of course it is. My nose is so itchy today, and it's making my model look weird whenever I go to scratch it. Ugh. What did I expect? Defeated, Micah returned to the bed. Weary from all that had happened, she collapsed upon it, her loose hair strewn in spirals across the sheets. Micah stared up at the ceiling, which was drenched in darkness, and softly muttered, "What am I going to do now?" Micah's question, of course, fell upon deaf ears. There was nobody to hear her. She was all alone. Ah! Sorry. Oh my gosh! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! It's so pretty! Ah! Sorry, I do see you, Zach. I'm just fucking losing my mind. Oh my god! It's so pretty! Oh my god! I want this as a poster. I want this on my walls! Ah! Sorry. Okay, I'll catch up to chat now. I'm so sorry. Stayed up late watching horror movies with my partner and eating pizza. Oh, hell yeah, that sounds like a great night. And then I helped friends with crossword drops before it ended. Totally naked. That sounds like a great time. I'm happy for you. What movies did you watch? I'm curious. I want to know what you watched and what you like your reviews of these movies. I'm curious. The screen's like she's being murdered when she sees Pretty Ladies. Got it. Yep. Yep. Pretty art too. Like, holy shit, guys. Look at the lighting work on this thing. Look at the fabric. Look at the folds and the flow of it. This is fucking insane. This should be in a fucking, like, art museum. This is crazy. This is so wild. Like, this is... Holy shit. Holy shit. This is... Oh my god. Look at the way her hair falls. Oh my god. This is incredible. Sorry, I'm reading, aren't I? Jesus Christ, this is incredible. Oh god, I love this artist so much. Ever since I played Salam's Kiss, I have adored the way they do just everything. I really need to like look into them more. Maybe I could commission them one day. That would be fun. There's a lot of artists I want to commission. But money. Oh my god. What a beautiful surprise. Micah tossed and turned uneasily that night, in a bed which smelled of disuse and decay. The bed was more comfortable than the style in which she'd been held, but it was at least almost as cold, its thin sheets eaten away by old age and insects. At least the dungeon, with its sole wooden cot and its solitary window, was supposed to be inhospitable. This bedroom, meanwhile, was a different matter. It was richly furnished, but all of its decorations had since been ravaged by time's unrepentant advances. The men and women who must have stayed in this room once more than a century ago would surely be dead now. In that sense, the room felt akin to a crypt. Did that make the bed a sarcophagus? Micah a corpse? God, I fucking love the way Evie writes. I love how she writes. Ah! This is just like hitting all my beautiful art senses right now. This artwork and Evie's writing, and it's just, oh. I can't be making noises like that on Twitch. This ain't Fansly. Oh my god. I may be a lesbian, but I'm also just like so horny for good art. Sounds like you're having a good time. I fucking am, bitch! Oh, I get so hard for art. I get so fucking rock hard for good art. Oh. Magdalene had spared Micah's life for the present, but Micah doubted that she would be so fortunate in the future. Magdalena was not, Micah reminded herself, a human, but a vampire. She meant to suck Micah of her blood, and when she did, Micah would lose her life, just as this room's previous inhabitant surely had. Magdalena's home was so decrepit, it seemed unfathomable that life could flourish within its walls. It was not so very different, really, from the Von Essen mausoleum. The air even smelt the same. It smelt of death. No matter how Micah tried, she could not get comfortable. All the while, as she tried to sleep, she heard the wind howling outside, creeping stealthily like black-cloaked thieves through the cracks in the glass panes. Micah's bare toes curled against the mattress. Anxiously, she shuddered. What was to become of her now? Oh my god. Act 2, Dust and Decay. Oh. Chat, breathe with me. Whew. 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 Oh my god, I need water. I need water. That was, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know why I need water, babes. You know why I needed water after that. Oh my god. I'm still fucking reeling. Hydrate, thank you, bitch. Thank you. You know why I need water. You know why I need water. Oh, 2? Oh, we're doing it. We're doing a hydrate train. Okay, I know you love those, Jackie. I know you love those. Jackie is a big fan of hydrate trains. She's always be like, she always be making sure we're hydrating and like aggressively doing it too, and it's really cute. Well, Jackie in the chat, you know you're never going to be dehydrated, for real, for real. Oh, chat. I'm going to be riding that high. I'm going to be riding that high all stream. Felt 2 is enough. You need more eyeball. Oh, thank you, baby. Mwah. Being a hot doll does require constant hydration. It does. I'm simply so sexy that I need to stay hydrated. It's just, oh, it's so much work. Oh, I'm all giggly and happy now. Oh. That was magical. That was magical. Oh, I want to say now, chat, if you ever have recommendations for visual novels that you'd like me to read, on stream or off, you can specify if you want me to read it on stream, because I do read a lot off stream. Feel free to let me know, either via the Discord or like you can tag me on Blue Sky. That's totally fine. I'm always down for more recommendations. And don't just recommend me things that I usually read. Recommend me stuff that I've never even heard of. Get me out of my bubble. I love that. I just wanted to say that because I've been getting a few recommendations from friends, but I would love for you guys to give me recommendations too. I had a friend recommend me something today. It's called, I don't think she wasn't really sure. I should say who it is. It's Tushy. Let's give Tushy a shout out because she recommended me a cute visual novel. And we love that. I mean, it's probably not going to be cute. It's probably going to be pretty horny. And I'm not sure if we'll be able to play it on stream. Oh, I can't shout out people who aren't here. Sad. Can I? No, I can't. I don't have that set up. I wish I could. My dear friend Tushy Bean. Tushy Bean VT. I'll put her name in chat. That's a shout out, right? If you have to stare at her name. Some of you know her, some of you don't. we do walk in the same circles. She recommended me this game called Mythic Love Iberian Legends. It's a monster romance visual novel inspired by Spanish myths and legends. I don't know much about Spanish myths, so I'm really excited about that because I've never left my country, first of all. So I haven't really been exposed to different cultures in that way. And I do love monsters. I mean, I am one, so of course I do. I love myself, like duh. And I'm very excited about that. It's not out yet, so I've just wishlisted it. If it's safe to play on stream, I might play it on stream. There are guys in it, but I'm a completionist when it comes to visual novels, so we will play every single route. And if it's a bit saucy, I might play it off stream. Maybe I'll record it if it's something you guys will be into. But yes, please do recommend me visual novels you think I might like to try. The weirder the better. If it's out of my bubble, still try. I'm always down to try something that I've never seen before. Who knows, I might like it. Okay, back to what we were doing. I'm so sidetracked and distracted today. I'm so distractible today. It's amazing. While Micah began to drift off into an easy slumber, Henny was busy cutting her own way through the dense, sprawling forest. It's Henny! My girl! My wifey! Magdalena had been as good as her word, and she had indeed set Henny free, a concession that Henny hadn't expected from her. Monsters weren't known for their amenability, nor for their sincerity. Henny had believed, when Magdalena had dragged her bodily from that cold, hateful prison, that she would be put to death, torn apart just like the bandits in the forest had been. Henny's heart had hammered in her chest with each step through those subterranean cells, and inwardly she had cursed Magdalena's name. She had thought of demanding that the vampire let her go, but common sense had told her any act of resistance would be in vain. Magdalena would not listen to her. Why should she, when Henny was but a human woman, and a short and dowdy one, of unprepossessing features besides? Oh, my Henny, the things I would do for you, girl! Henny had been prepared to die for Micah's sake, but she hadn't wanted to die needlessly while Micah suffered still. Fear had dogged her, sewn through her skin like 1,000 needles. But in the end, Magdalena had surprised Henny. She had, after all, led Henny through her large, dust-covered entrance hall and out to the front door. There she is! Guys, it's my wife. Everyone say hi. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about the wedding. It literally happened within seconds. It's a bit of a difficult time. It's a bit difficult to tell someone about a wedding when it happens like within seconds, but it did happen, I promise. Look at her. Ah! I like big women. I like big women. Be it that muscles or soft. I like women with body yaddy 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 yaddy. I like some body, you know. You get me. And Henny, you can tell that she's ticking all my boxes. Well, Magdalena had addressed Henny thus, one eyebrow raised as she pushed the door ajar. Are you going to leave like your silly, sentimental mistress wanted you to? Or would you prefer to stand there looking stupid? What? You knew that Mike is my mistress all this time? Of course I did. Do you take me for a fool? I wasn't born yesterday. Deception isn't very hard to sniff out once one has been alive for as long as I, and your mistress's attempts at subterfuge were laughably poor. Oh, I thought the same myself. Micah always loses when we play card games. She's awful at them, really, but... Goodness. If you already knew that Micah is my mistress and I'm the maid, why are you letting me go and not her? Well, why not? I can do as I please. This is my home, and I am free to decide who I allow to stay here. It is, yes, but... Enough. It is not your place to question my decisions, human. You must remember to respect your elders and your betters. I have decided to let you go out of the goodness of my heart. I released you from your cell, and now I have even brought you to my front door, but still, you will not go. Do you like it here so very much? Please don't tell me that you have a death wish. That would undermine all your poor mistress's ploys. If you truly loved her, you would not let your noble sacrifice go to waste now, would you? You... Henny had grit her teeth together as she regarded Magdalena, stung by her words. Magdalena was not so very tall, nor so very imposing, but her supreme self-confidence was unsettling, as was the latent malice which lurked beneath her pristine smile. Had Henny not seen what Magdalena was capable of in the woods, she would not have known to fear her. Henny had seen what Magdalena could do, however, and it unsettled her. The bandits' screams and their severed limbs would not leave her, daubed against her eyelids just as their blood had been splashed, red and streaky across the forest floor. Henny had known that she could not fight against Magdalena, and neither could she argue with her. It had been abundantly plain, much as the nose upon Henny's own face, that she would not let her Micah go. She had already made up her mind. All right, then. I'll leave if that's what you're after. I won't forget you, though, Magdalena. I won't forget what you've done to me or to Micah, and I won't forget that you are still holding her captive. I'll come back. I swear it on my ma's life, and I won't leave without Micah. Really, now? That is quite the declaration. I suppose I shall look forward to seeing you again, then, Lady Henrique. It gets so lonely here living in this desolate old pile, and I do love entertaining guests. I will be sure to save a place for you at my tea table, ensuring that you're able to make it out of the forest in one piece, of course. It is awfully dark out there, and look at all the fog. I don't much fancy your chances, but what do I know? You might be more durable than you look. Henny had not dignified this teasing retort with an answer. Instead, she had turned, trying to assume as much dignity as she could, which, given her life spent serving the Von Jessen family, was more than one might have assumed, and marched off with her head held high. If her shoulders had trembled when she entered the forest, it had not been too apparent. God, I love that woman. Now free from Magdalena's clutches, Henny continued to pick her way through the woods. Henny thought of Magdalena and of Micah, and how her poor mistress must have been faring as she trudged onwards. Her thoughts strayed, too, on occasions, to her own safety and whether she really would be able to emerge from the woods unscathed. But whenever she began to doubt herself, she bit the inside of her cheek in self-rebuke. It was not, Henny had told herself, a case of if she would escape from the woods, but when. Henny knew that if she succumbed either to wild animals or to the icy air, Micah's fate would be sealed. Micah was relying upon her, which meant she had to keep going. There was nothing else for it but to keep putting one foot after the other, no matter how many times it took. Henny continued to walk, her dark eyes focused on the uneven path ahead. It was very dark in the forest, and the moon did little to light her way. The trees were dense, their foliage vast, and only a few slivers of milky light could penetrate their bower. The wind blew cold and sharp, further teasing Henny's dark hair into disarray. Her dress, which was stained and dirty from the night's exertions, fluttered about her legs. Back then, Henny had thought only of escaping from the bandits. She had squeezed Micah's hand tightly in her own, and had pulled her along as a child might a beloved toy, careless of which direction they had been fleeing. Henny hadn't known where they were going. She hadn't much cared either. She had only wanted to save herself and her mistress too. Now, Henny walked at a more regular pace. Her limbs were too weary to run. By God, her legs felt like lead, and she felt the need to preserve her strength. The hours passed by in a blur, unbeknownst to Henny, who had no timepiece as she walked. She did not know where Augsburg was, or if she was even moving in the right direction. She could have been doubling back upon herself for all she knew. It did not seem to matter very much. Henny was no stranger to physical labour, but she had been walking for such a long time her soles were beginning to blister. Each step induced new exquisite agonies within her which made her gasp. That's such a cool phrase. Exquisite agonies. That's so cool. I love that. Her bones seemed to scrape together and a canker on her ankle burst, filling her shoe with pus. Oh, baby. All the while the cool wind tugged at her hair, nipped at her cheeks, whipped her skirts about her thighs. Henny heard, or thought she could hear, a faint howling in the distance, like that of stalking wolves. Agitation seized upon her, an agitation so great she could not quell it even by biting the inside of her cheek, her mouth filled with blood, her tongue tingling with its coppery tang as she hurried on. She moved between the trees, fitfully aware of the howling, which no longer sounded as distant as it once had. It was growing louder and louder, rattling about inside her skull like a stone, until... "Oh!" Henny exclaimed, surprised, as she burst through a copse of thickly packed trees and out onto a mud path. She had emerged at long last onto a road, one of many which twined through the tall trees of the forest. There, not so far away, she could see the source of the noise which she had heard. It was not a pack of hungry wolves after all, but a carriage drawn by two thin, hungry-looking horses. Hardly able to believe her luck, Henny dashed to the carriage, then cried out breathlessly to the coachman seated upon it. "Wait! Oh, please wait! Will you not stop for me? I'm in dire need of help. I need to go to Augsburg immediately before it's too late. It's very, very important, I swear, good sirs. My poor mistress's life is in danger, and I'm the only one who can save her. If you don't help me, I fear she might die." I love Henny. I love her so much. Ah! She's so cool. She's so cool. Oh my god. Ah! Micah felt disoriented when she awoke the following day in an unfamiliar bed, which smelt of something spoiled. I need more water, hang on. Excellent. It took Micah a few moments to become fully cognizant of her surroundings. She had slept little the night prior, and her head ached, her eyes pulsing in their sockets like molten steel. Oh, I know that feeling so well. Oh, I know that feeling so well. Oh my god. I bet she's nauseous too. I bet she's nauseous from the pain. Oh, hi, Queen. Gingerly, Micah pressed the heel of her palm to her eyes and rubbed them. Groggily, rather. Then she looked around in earnest, but soon found herself confused. The bedroom Micah found herself in was so unlike anything she had seen before that she initially wondered whether she was still dreaming. Your VTuber model is really reflecting your excitement. Yes, it's my favourite part! I mean, I love the design, obviously. Obviously, I love the design. And I love all the hard work that's been put into it. But I am really happy to finally show how expressive I am and how much I am really... how active I can be. I really am happy that I can show off my true colours. It's really nice. My voice isn't doing all the work anymore. I mean, my voice is still going crazy, obviously. But you can see me. You can see my body doing the things too. She pinched the inside of her arm, in the hopes the room would shift like water. But it remained immutable. She must have been awake then. The pain made this irrefutable, even if the chill which assailed her did not. Micah had faint recollections of running through the forest last night. Her parents had both been stabbed in their carriage, or so Henny had told her. But these memories remained a blur. Micah could not recall her parents' final moments, but she could remember awaking in the dungeons of an unfamiliar abode, governed by an unfamiliar woman. This woman, who had introduced herself as Magdalena, had claimed to be a vampire, and now Micah was her prisoner. The bedroom Micah found herself in seemed even more miserable in the daylight than it had last night, obscured by a veil of darkness. It was more dilapidated than the student servants' quarters at Micah's home, and had most assuredly seen less use. The furniture, though luxurious, was scuffed, the carpet threadbare, the basin upon the bedside table covered in hairline cracks. Dust covered every conceivable surface, and spiders had made their homes in the corners of the room, their gossamer webs outstretched like grasping fingers. I have to say, spiderwebs aren't bad. Like, the concept of spiderwebs, I don't hate having them in my room. What I do hate is the mess. Spiders will, like, leave their... If they abandon their web, or if they die and they can't upkeep their web anymore, it gets so dirty. Like, spiders are actually really clean animals. So they, like, are very clean when they take care of their webs. But even, like, when they're cleaning things regularly, they poop. Chat, they poop, and they leave little poop specks all over the walls. If you see, like, a little black spot just on the wall near a spiderweb, that's probably its poop. Once you know what it looks like, you can spot spider poop anywhere. Yeah. Conceptually, I love spiderwebs. I love them. But, oh my god. I wish they wouldn't poop. I wish they wouldn't poop. And I wish their parlours didn't get... And pantries of lovely webs didn't get so dirty. Wait, they look like what? Yeah, they look like little black specks. Have you guys never seen that? Spider poop. Look it up. Yeah, they just look like little black specks. They're little black droppings. They look kind of like if you see a bunch of them at once, they look kind of like black, like very, 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 very tiny, like bird droppings that are black. So uncomfy. I'm sorry, Jackie, but it's true. You can't escape from this truth. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, they don't live in long enough in my house to shit. That's fair. I usually am okay with spiders hanging out in my house, but, like, it's the shit. It's always the shit that's the problem for me. Because we don't actually have a lot of spiders in my country that are dangerous, so I'm not actually worried by them. The ones that are dangerous are pretty identifiable. So if, I see them, then I get, like, a cup and, like, paper and put them outside. Yeah, I say sorry. Sorry, they do be shitting. Sorry. It's the truth. A lot of things shit, guys. It turns out everything poops. The system of consuming things means... You say they're dangerous? It depends. I think some of the dangerous ones are like native spiders, so I don't want to kill them. We have a very delicate ecosystem in our country, so it's just like I don't want to disrupt it any more than I have to. The whitetails, though. Fuck those guys. Fuck the whitetails. Hang on. Whitetail NZ. They're from Australia? Hey, Australians, why did you give us whitetails? What the fuck? Why did you let them over here? We don't want them. They're so dangerous. Sorry? Okay, you said sorry, so I'll forgive you. Thank you. My happy we kill them all. Bless you, my happy. It was in his vows and his husbandly duty. You know what? That's romance. That's romance right there. Vowing to do things like that for your partner is real romance. I love that for you, Jackie. That's really sweet. That's beautiful. I know there's a lot of dangerous spiders in other countries, so I'm not mad. It's just we have a very delicate ecosystem already with all the introduced creatures, like whitetails, that I try not to kill things if I can help it. I will stare at a dead possum, though, because that's funny. We have like a possum trap in our back garden now because we are. The only thing they fear is you, Priscilla, with spiders. Yeah. The thing about like insects and spiders and stuff is I get really scared to pick them up because my hands are so big and I'm so clumsy and I could squish them if I'm not careful. I don't want to squish them if I can help it, but I'm so clumsy. So I always ask someone else to pick them up because I'm scared I'm going to hurt them. I'm like God, but I'm scared. You know? I'm a god who's scared. I'm a god who's scared of hurting her little babies. You know, I actually thought about making myself a spider character instead of a doll. Maybe one day. The only thing we've been having lately is common huntsmans. Seasons change. I like huntsman spiders. They're cute. I like them. They're a lot. A humble goddess. I love that. Yeah, I'm very humble. Absolutely. I'm actually known for being like really modest and humble. No, I don't like harming things if I can help it. Like we're all on a lot of my like world viewers. We're all on this planet once. We've only got one shot of them at things, you know. Try and leave the world like not any worse than it was when you came into it. Like your impact on things, you know. You may think that it doesn't really change much, but to that spider that you save, that's their whole life that you've saved. That's everything. That's their whole world. That's all they know. They won't realize that you saved them, but they will realize that they are still alive, and maybe you're the reason why. And that matters. That matters. You'll be the only spider I'll love then. Jack here, you're making me want to make the spider design even more now. Oh my god. I have like an unending list of alt designs because I can't stop. That's deep, man. I'm a very philosophical person, actually. I'm a very introspective philosophical person, and I like to apply it to my life. That's beautiful for you. We're all different people, Jack. Yeah, it's fine. You're also in like a fucking country where a lot of spiders are dangerous, so I completely respect you wanting them to die. That's very normal, babe. America has a lot of dangerous insects and spiders, so it's you're fine, girl. I'm come from a very I don't understand a lot of like the urge to do harm. Like intrinsically it doesn't always make a lot of sense to me. But I'm getting off track again. I'm so distractible. Oh my god. Dust covered every conceivable surface, and spiders had made their homes in the corners of the room, their gossamer webs outstretching like grasping fingers. Thank you for the head pet, Zach. I appreciate it. Look, lesbians, yes. This is a classic Priscilla stream, though, vibe. Like, this is me at my best. The air was so stagnant, Micah felt compelled to open one of the windows, but her attempts were in vain. The windows were locked, and she could find no key to aid her. Perturbed, Micah slumped down at the desk by the window, then stared through the stained, smeary glass. Magdalena's garden sprawled out before her in a dense, twisted tangle. Perhaps there'd been flower beds in this garden once, neatly planted, and an apple orchard, and any number of other arboreal delights. Arboreal, is that a plant word? It must be a plant word, hang on. We're looking at things, we're looking things up again. Ooh, it's the Priscilla stream, she looks everything up. Arboreal meaning. Living in trees. Huh? Oh, relating to trees. Trees. Arboreal delights. Trees. But age had spoiled it all. Micah was no gardener, but she could deduce at a glance that Magdalena's garden had been unloved for years. That ain't the only garden of hers that's unloved. Ayo! Sorry. Arborealist in this part of the country, localized in this specific garden in Germany. Beyond the walls of Magdalena's garden was the forest, all tall, imposing trees, not so dissimilar from the proud oak which guarded the von Essen family mausoleum. She's always thinking about that mausoleum. I mean, she was traumatized when she went down there, but when she was a kid. But, like, you know, she's always be thinking about that mausoleum. That's all she be thinking about. That mausoleum is on her mind 24/7. The trees emerged from the fog, their boughs raised towards the sky, festooned in darkly verdant leaves. Verdant is another word I like. That's such a nice word. Verdant. I think it means, like, I'm so bad at describing meanings for words that I always look it up. Green with grass or other rich vegetation. Yeah, like plants are planting. They're happy. They're doing plant things. There were so many trees that Micah couldn't see very far beyond them. Perhaps there wasn't much to see at all out here other than nature. I'll get you a dictionary for your birthday. Oh, you cheeky bastard. The rest of the world seemed very distant indeed. The thing about words is, like, I know what they mean, but I don't know it. Like, I know the vibes. I know where they should be used. I know how they should be used, but I can't, like, specifically tell you what they mean, like, in the very specifics. That's usually the case if I know a word, but I don't know a word, you know? Micah herself might have been a figure from a fairy tale. A languishing maiden, trapped inside a tower by a wicked witch, unable to escape. The sun hung above the treetops, suspended, half hidden by clouds. Its rays were weak and did little to dispel the cold which pervaded inside Micah's bedroom. Looking out the window made Micah feel more trapped than lying in her bed had. At least in her bed. She could imagine that somebody might come and rescue her. Seeing the dense trees which surrounded Magdalena's gardens made these hopes feel hopelessly naive, however. Who would dare venture all the way into the woods in the hopes of finding her? Walter might well send out a search party. But he would have But he would have no idea where to begin searching, and Micah wasn't certain if she much wanted Walter to find her either. She would languish inside Magdalena's home, wasting away like the flaking paint upon the walls, until... Oh! Micah's dreary thoughts were soon interrupted by the discontented rumblings of her stomach. All of a sudden, she recalled that she had not eaten very much the night prior, or drunk very much for that matter. Her throat was parched. It seemed almost heartless to experience such base desires after her parents' deaths, but Micah's body knew little of propriety. All it cared of was its own immediate discomfort. Fortunately, Micah did not have to search for long to find a means of alleviating her hunger pangs. Somebody, Magdalena presumably, had left a tray on her bedside table which bore a plate of scones, a teapot, and a saucer. Micah soon discovered that the teapot was still warm, a few indistinct ribbons of steam unspooling still from its spout. Magdalena must have entered her bedroom less than half an hour prior, while Micah had been asleep to set her breakfast down. The scones, meanwhile, seemed plain, but they would be nutritious enough. Micah was surprised that Magdalena kept any food at all in her home, given the curious nature of her diet. As a vampire, did she not sup only upon blood? Where had Magdalena procured these scones? Had she made them herself for Micah's sake? Ooh! Ooh! The thought of her vampiric host labouring in the kitchen, her sleeves rolled up like those of a common drudge, was an amusing one. It was almost enough to make Micah smile. Blood scones? I don't know if blood would be very good in the scone structure. The way it dries up, you know, it would dry up very quickly when it was being cooked. I don't know if it would work very well. We would have to use a substitute material. Blood, I think... Yeah, I don't think blood would work very well. We need like something like to moisturize the scone a bit. As a topping? Yeah! Yeah, like as a, you know, like how you spread butter on scones, you could spread the blood on the scone. That would work, yeah. Wedged underneath the teapot was a note, which Micah extricated. She smoothed the note out, then examined it. The note was a perfunctory one, written in an elegant sweeping cursive. It said, quite simply, "Eat up and get your strength back. You'll need it." Nobody had signed the note, but Micah was sure it was from her mysterious hostess. Micah wondered whether the note had been intended as a friendly gesture or a threat. Perhaps it was a mixture of both. I think it was a mixture of both. She seems like a silly one. Magdalena seems a bit silly with it. Micah was unsure how to feel about it, but she supposed it was nice that Magdalena had gone to the effort to care for her. Tea and scones were better than bread and water. Magdalena might not be so bad after all. For a bloodthirsty vampire that was, who meant one day to murder her. Micah brought the rim of her teacup to her lips and sipped at the amber liquid within. She had half expected it to taste astringent, of sharp, tangy iron and of blood. But she soon found it was quite inoffensive. Maybe it's a psalm? Micah took another sip of the tea, and then another. Though she had meant to be cautious, what if the tea was laced with something? Her thirst soon got the better of her, and she drank the whole cup in half a minute. A psalm tea. I don't know much about tea. A psalm. Assam tea. It's a black tea named after Assam, India. It's manufactured specifically from a camellia plant. How pretty. It is known for its strength and malty flavour. Oh, that sounds nice. I'm not avidly a tea drinker because it usually has caffeine in it. I'm not usually very good with caffeine. It's usually too strong and it gives me a headache. Although I have been doing a bit better because I am taking my energy drinks. Although, hang on. Yes, this is a caffeine one. It's raspberry lemonade. It's yummy. Raspberry lemonade is one of the best flavors for that sort of thing, I think. It's just yummy. Setting the cup back down on the saucer, Micah then turned her attention upon the scones. They're going to say don't energy drinks have caffeine in them. I think some of them don't. I think some of them are sugar-based. She ate delicately, taking care not to drop any crumbs upon her lap or the floor. Though why did it matter, really, when the carpet beneath her was so warm? A few crumbs would hardly spoil this bedroom more than time already had. In fact, they might serve to make the room more homey. But then again, perhaps not. It would have been a tall order to breathe even a modicum of life into this room. Micah doubted even if Dr. Frankenstein himself could have managed such a feat, despite the cadavers he had stitched together and raised from the dead. Micah was so cold, even with the tea on her tongue, she was starting to feel distinctly cadaverous herself. She finished her breakfast, then looked about her room once more, unsettled. Surely she could not stay there motionless, waiting for Magdalena to stop by and slaughter her. There had to be something she could do to escape her predicament. Micah rose to her feet, buoyed by sudden nervous energy, and padded barefoot over to the door. She grasped the door handle and tried to turn it, but in vain. The door was locked, and it stubbornly refused to shift. Micah had expected as much, and wasn't particularly surprised. Slipping out through the door would have been too easy. Next, Micah turned to the window, but her hopes of escaping via the window had already been dashed. Micah knew already the window was locked, and even if she had been able to open it, it was too high up for her to escape from. Micah stood by the desk and peered, Aries' eyes narrowed through the dirty glass. Magdalena's garden seemed a very long way down, blanketed though it was by the fog. Micah didn't much fancy the thought of smashing the glass, and she fancied even less the thought of jumping to her almost inevitable doom. Even if she didn't break her spine, it seemed likely she would break an arm or a leg, or both. It did not seem like escape was an option, though she had, of course, known that already. Magdalena would not have been that careless. Micah sighed, defeated, and took a seat once more upon the bed. It groaned beneath her, as though in pain, sounding rather like it wanted to be put out of its misery. Micah could hardly blame it, given how very old it must have been. She felt distinctly miserable herself, though there was one silver lining, she supposed, to her captivity. At least Henny was all right. Micah hoped she was all right, at least. If she was not, then... But Micah would not allow herself to finish this thought. Henny had to be all right. She simply had to. Otherwise, Micah's sacrifice would have been for nothing. Feeling the need now to distract herself, Micah rose, then shed the nightgown Magdalena had given her. She changed, not into her old, dirty dress from the day prior, but into one of the new clean gowns Magdalena had left in her chest of drawers, all neatly pressed frills, which smelt only faintly of mould. Now, newly outfitted, Micah paced the room, wondering what she could do. While living with her parents, Micah's mother had often instructed her to work on her embroidery hoop. Lady Von Essen had thought sewing a suitable pastime for a young woman, that or playing the piano. Micah's mother had always thought music too passionate to be appropriate, however. And in any case, Micah had never been very good at the piano. That's a very interesting outfit she's been given. I kind of like her. She had been very good at never been very good at embroidery either. Micah had sewn cornflowers and magpies until her fingers had threatened to fall off, until she had become so thoroughly sick of these twee repetitive patterns, she had felt like hurling her hateful embroidery hoop clean through the window. Micah considered herself fortunate indeed that Magdalena hadn't left an embroidery hoop upon her breakfast tray for her. Magdalena might have been a vampire, but at least she wasn't that cruel. You like the costume design? I do too. It's very impressive. Micah had stitched enough hateful curlicues to last a lifetime. Though there was no hoop, and thank goodness for that, there were books. The shelves in Micah's new bedroom were full of them, old and dusty, with worn spines and crinkled pages, but quite readable. Micah perused their spines with the wide, curious eyes of a child, her unfamiliar gown brushing against the unfamiliar floor. Magdalene had told her that late last night that she might help herself to any of the books upon her shelves. But there were so many of them it was hard to know where to start. As there was nothing else for her to do to save, sit and worry, Micah decided her time would be better occupied reading. She reached out for a promising book among Magdalena's collection, The Monk by Lewis. She settled herself down upon her bed among the thin covers, then opened the yellowing pages of the old tome. The pages within the leather-bound book crackled like autumn leaves, and Micah had to handle it carefully lest she tore them. All the wonderful words were still there, however, unblemished by the passing years. Micah shifted, attempting to get comfortable as she could in so unfamiliar an environment, then began to read. Micah spent the rest of the day abed, poring through the pages of Lewis's The Monk. It was a very gripping story, full of lust, murder, and intrigue, featuring a monk so debauched he took Micah's mind off her immediate concerns. Micah tore through the text, both delighted and disturbed by the twists and turns, though the scenes near the end, which occurred in a dingy dungeon, reminded Micah a touch too much of her plight to be fully immersive. Micah skimmed these pages, which detailed the virginal Agnes's suffering, and soon reached the conclusion, wherein the wicked monk Ambrosio was tortured for his crimes. As Micah read, the sun began to sink outside. Shadows stretched along her bedroom floor, bidding her to light the candle which rested upon her bedside table. The light was feeble, but it was enough to read by. Micah continued to scan the pages of the text, holding the book close to her nose, so as to devour it. So enraptured by Ambrosio's suffering, she did not hear the sound of a key turning in her bedroom door. She did hear the sound of the door creaking open, however, a low guttural sound which split the silence like a moan. Micah raised her head, disoriented once more, to find herself in Magdalena's home, in the dingy bedroom which Magdalena had prepared for her. Her hostess stood in the doorway, shockingly fair and white in the gloaming, returned, perhaps, to make good on her initial promises. Did she mean to kill Micah at last? Micah had but a scant 10 pages left to read of Ambrosio's ill-fated adventures, yet she feared she would not see how his life would end. Her own existence would come to a close before that of the vile monk. Micah supposed she could slip past Magdalena and make a hasty retreat, but no. She had dawdled for too long. Magdalena had already locked the door behind her and now surveyed Micah with a detached sort of amusement. "Good evening to you. It feels like it's been a while since last I saw you. Did you enjoy the breakfast I brought to you?" Oh, yes, thank you for your kindness. I didn't expect you to be so considerate." "You believed that I would let you starve?" Magdalena tittered, her red eyes sharp and knowing. "Please, I'm not that cruel. I've even brought more food for you. Look. It has been a while since breakfast, and I thought you might be hungry." Now that Magdalena mentioned, Micah could see in her hand she held another tray, much like the one she had brought earlier. The tray was laden with another teapot and a teacup, and a plate upon which sat a meat pie, still steaming, and some vegetables. The food smelt surprisingly delicious in the derelict air of Micah's bedroom, and Micah was almost embarrassed at how hungry she was. Why, she was almost salivating. Magdalena loped over to Micah, the tray in hand, then inclined her head to the bedside table. "Would you mind moving that? I can't set the tray down otherwise." Oh, right. I'm sorry." Micah moved her breakfast tray onto her lap, to which Magdalena curtsied, playing once more at being a maid. "Much obliged, young madame. I'll take that away soon, but first—" Magdalena unburdened herself with the dinner tray and observed Micah, one hand resting upon her hip. "Are you all right?" That seems an odd sort of question, don't you think? "Do you believe anybody would be all right were they in my shoes?" "Hope you aren't wearing any shoes, not in bed. They were filthy when you arrived here and quite caked in dirt." "I didn't mean it literally." "I know. I was just teasing." "I wish you wouldn't." "Why? Are you afraid you might grow to appreciate our little spats?" "Hardly. I failed to see the need to converse with my captor, that's all." "Oh, how fiery you are! I'd almost forgotten. You look so very wan, you know, and wary, too. The bags beneath your eyes are terrifying. They're almost black." "Did you not get much sleep last night?" "I tried. I failed." "I take it you had a lot on your mind?" "Yes, indeed. Not that this should come as a surprise." "Were you thinking about your fate?" "That, and the fate of my parents. Henny, too." "You're still fussing about that silly maid of yours." "I've no idea why you care so much. It's most unusual. None of the ladies I knew growing up were half so besotted with their servants. They treated them more like livestock than people." "Henny is more than a maid to me. She's—" "Your friend? Yes, you said." "How touching. Now, why don't you eat something? You must be hungry." "I am, yes. But where did this food come from? You would have no need of it, surely." "Oh, I have my ways." Magdalena smiled knowingly. "There are merchants who sometimes travel through these woods, and quite fortuitously. I happened to pass one by when I went for a walk in the early hours of this morning. This food I procured from them. You did not buy it? I did not need to. I can be very persuasive when I wish to be. It's one of the many perks of being a member of the noble undead. What? Do not tell me that you slaughtered him? Oh, no. I don't kill indiscriminately. I'm not a brute, no matter what you might think of me. And my own hunger has already been satiated for the present by last night's feast. I used nothing so nefarious as my powers of flattery. It is not so hard, you know, to bend men to your will, not when you smile at them and you remember to bat your eyelashes. I had him prepare enough food to keep you going for a few days in a knapsack, plus some eggs and flour, the basic amenities. Then bade him a fond farewell. He shall recall our meeting as little more than a dream. Does that satiate your curiosity? For the moment, I suppose. Good. You have such a lot of questions, Micah. Not that I mind them. It's nice to meet a woman so inquisitive. Now do eat up. I am sure that your dear Henny would not want you starving yourself. Micah did not much like the thought of eating in front of Magdalena, but she supposed her captor had a point. It was foolish to go without sustenance, especially when it smelt so tantalizing. Micah set her dinner tray upon her lap, then began to eat. She dug into the meat pie with her knife and fork, which were darkly tarnished. Micah feared that the cutlery would somehow contaminate her food, but she was too hungry to fret overly long about this possibility. Micah popped a piece of meat pie into her mouth and chewed, and as she did, Magdalena watched. Magdalena's red eyes were wide, as though she were observing something very interesting. An exotic animal in a cave, perhaps, or a reaction between two volatile chemicals. Micah did not think the act of her eating was so very special, but it must have been different to Magdalena, as a vampire. Magdalena had no need to partake in meat pies or vegetables. Was that why the simple act of Micah eating enticed her so? As Micah ate, horribly self-conscious of Magdalena's stare, what if she were to drop any food on her front? The vampire began to talk. It's been a long time since I was able to observe one of your kind going about your day-to-day life. On the rare occasions I am able to witness you, you are always in pain, screaming and crying and begging for your lives. That is rather entertaining in its own right, but sometimes I forget you are more than just prey. You have thoughts of your own, when they aren't being disturbed by physical discomfort. You eat food, and you read books, and you have friends. Dreams, too. It's hard to believe it now, but once I wasn't always so different to you. That was a very, very long time ago, though. Micah detected, while sipping her tea, a note of longing in Magdalena's voice. Her hostess's expression was inscrutable, but her ruby-red eyes were soft, the pale lashes that framed them trembling as though from the force of her own emotions. Had Micah not been afraid of Magdalena, she might have sympathized with her. For a few brief moments, Magdalena appeared, for all the years she had lived and all of the hurt she had caused, to be a young girl, younger even than Micah herself. Or for the first time, Micah wondered how old Magdalena had been when she had been turned. Her face was so smooth, so devoid of blemishes, she could not have yet have been in her 20s. She would have been 18 or 19, if that. It seemed a woefully young age to be consigned to an undying, eternal life of blood-sucking. Which reminded Micah, aren't you going to bite me yet? You said that you would. Oh? Magdalena blinked, and when she did, the sentimentality which had once pooled in her irises dispersed. Newly amused, the young woman smiled and said, You said that yesterday, too, after I brought you to this chamber. Are you that desperate for me to drain your blood? No, I'm not. Of course I don't want you to drain my blood. I'd really rather you didn't. But if you're to do it anyway, I fail to see why you should drag things out for so long. Unless you want to watch me make me squirm. Bite me. Eager much? Right? She's like, hey, why are you so interested in that? You're gonna die if I do that. What's going on, babe? Hey, yo. Making you squirm does not sound too awful, like too awful a proposition, really. You were quite charming when you were sitting, and even when you were eating. Ha! Few women can pull that off, you know, but you manage it. You eat with such small, considered bites. Like a fairy. I imagine you'll be lovelier still when squirming. Particularly if your face is as red as it is now. Or now, even. Oh! Magdalena leaned in, grinning wickedly. Her sharp incisors on prominent display, and curled her fingers beneath Micah's chin. Their faces were now scant centimetres apart, their noses almost brushing. Micah was suddenly unabashedly aware of her breath, which must have smelt of meat and pastry. Self-conscious, her face burned redder still like a furnace, as though to entice Magdalena. Her heart hammered so very hard. She could feel it at the base of her throat, inside her skull. Could Magdalena hear it too? Why did she feel so unnerved? If she had only been afraid, that would have been understandable, but the sensation which curdled in the pit of Micah's stomach seemed comprised of more than that. Her brow began to sweat, as did her palms. Tremulous as a leaf, she found she could not meet Magdalena's gaze. Yes, you are lovely. Magdalena spoke, her voice appraising, as she tipped Micah's head back, her eyes roving, not over Micah's face, but the slender column of her neck, and the delicate blue veins which crisscrossed it. Why are you giving me a hydrate? Rude. Have a sip because it might get too hot. Oh my god, thank you. Looking out for me, so kind. I would have no compunctions about sinking my teeth into that throat of yours. Your skin is so very warm. It is as though you were trying to entice me. You look utterly delectable. Oh, thank you. Another hydrate. Oh, a hydrate chain. Oh god. Oh god, that's 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, another one. Hang on. Chat, I'm gonna run out of water. No, I can't chug. If I want to do the hydrates properly, I have to just... I have to... I have to do little bits at a time. Or I go, I'm not gonna have any water left. Oh my god. Are you actually chugging all those redeems? I'm not actually chugging, but I am drinking for every single one of them. I do partake of water for every single one of them. I'm no liar. I'm no coward. I be drinking. I be hydrating. Don't worry. One time someone chewed me out for... lady chewed me out for having an energy drink for the Hydrate Redeem. So I only drink water for the Hydrate Redeem. Energy drink is on my own time. Thank you very much. But I will abstain for now. You are so very lovely. It would seem like a waste almost to drain you right now. I would prefer to savour your demise like a fine wine. There is little sense in being overly hasty. And in any event, I am not that desperate. I can abstain. I must. A muscle tightened in Magdalena's jaw, and her eyes grew hard, just like stones. I have managed for long enough as it is. I would not wish to have all my efforts undone. What? Micah blinked at Magdalena, her eyes uncomprehending. Will you not drink my blood then? No, I won't. Not tonight. You may rest easy one night more, dead Micah. Your death is still a way off. Hi, Eve! Hi! Welcome in! Welcome to lesbian time. OMG, look at this model, what the heck? Right? I'm a cat now. I'm a cat. I'm a kitty cat. And I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance. I'm a spooky little cat girl. Welcome in. You missed me absolutely losing my mind over beautiful artwork of beautiful woman earlier. But that's okay. That's what the body's for. How far exactly? That depends. Upon? Oh, I don't know. My own mood, and the movements of the moon, and how long you can continue to entertain me, I suppose. I quite like the idea, you see, of having another woman in this castle I can speak to. Missed it? It's still happening as far as I can see. No. It was actually like a lot crazier earlier. It was actually quite crazy. Pretty girls, yes! It's pretty girl time! Alas, my wife is not in this scene, but we saw her earlier, so it's okay. I know she's okay. Perhaps you can tell me what the books you have been reading when next we meet. I would love to hear your opinions. Though, of course, there isn't a single book in this castle I've not read at least thrice over myself. There isn't much to do, really, when one has been dead for as long as I have. So saying, Magdalena retrieves the tray from the floor laden with Micah's breakfast things, then straightened. I love voicing Magdalena. It feels like so me. Like, it feels like I was made to voice her. She cast one last, almost longing look at Micah, who shuddered beneath it, her cheeks blushing anew like the skin of an apple. Before, with what might have been a sigh or a sob, Magdalena turned. She unlocked the door with one hand, the keys dull and matte in the candlelight, then exited, taking the tray with her. Here it is again! Ah! Ah! Look at it! Look at it! It's so pretty! Look at that! Holy shit, look at the fabric folds, look at the hair, look at everything, look at the lighting, look at the skin toning. Just wow! Ah! Art! Ah! Art! Oh, we're back here. Yeah, we're back. We're back to the good times. We never left, but you know. We're back to the best times. Oh. Micah passed that night much as she had the previous one, namely by laying abed in the nightgown Magdalena had bequeathed her, trying and failing to sleep. The lighting is my fave, the way they make the fabrics glow. Yes! The lighting is so beautiful. It's incredible, especially on the white fabric. It's incredible. Oh my god. The sheen of it is just chef's kiss. Thoughts of her parents continue to play upon her mind, and of her own fate, and more pressingly even than any of that, of Henny. I'm always thinking about Henny. Micah wanted to believe that Henny, at least, had been able to escape. She wanted to believe that Henny would continue to live. She would go far from Magdalena's dreary home within the woods, and one day after, she would meet a nice man, and they would marry, and she would have children. Henny would be happy, whilst Micah would soon be reduced to a pallid, wizened corpse, drained of all its blood. It was such a fate so different from the one she would be afforded if she had wed Walter. Micah might, in a perverse way, have been better off as Magdalena's captive than she would Walter's bride. At least here in Magdalena's home, she had a bed to herself. It was an aged bed, yes, which creaked beneath her weight, but it was hers. There was no danger of Walter, or anybody else for that matter, joining her. If Micah was to die in this bed, then so be it. She would welcome it. If Henny was all right, then she did not care what happened to herself. Her own life was, and always had been, unimportant. Name me an Ebihime character who doesn't have self-esteem issues right now. You can't, because they don't exist. All of them have self-esteem issues. Every single one. If Micah slept poorly that night, then she was not the only one. Unbeknownst to Micah, Henny was finding it similarly hard to escape into the warm embrace of sleep. Henny's day had been a busy one, and still she was reeling from it all. Sitting upright in her own bed, Henny found herself turning the events of her own day over in her mind. Every main character must grow? Yep. This is part of Micah's growth arc, is that she's learning how to exist without the system caging her. Which is really funny because she is currently caged. But in a sense, this cage is nicer. Like, throughout her life, she has always been in a cage, and that hasn't really changed fundamentally by the fact that she is in a cage, like, literally now. But somehow this cage is safer. I love that. I love that, like, no matter what, she is in a cage. It's really interesting. Healthier cage for the rose. Yes, it's healthier, but it's still a cage. It's so interesting. Sitting upright in her own bed, Henny found herself turning the events of her own day over in her mind. It's wavy. Sorry. It had been in the very early hours of the morning that Henny had finally made her way to Augsburg, transported there by the kindly merchant she had met during her meanderings in the forest. Henny had thanked the merchant profusely for his help, and had then set about looking for Walter Gerhardt's home. Henny knew its location well, though she had only been there twice before. It was a large, imposing building, one of the finest in the vicinity, which could have rivaled the von Essen home. But it was more modern in construction. It was not the sort of house one could forget in a hurry. The sun had begun to rise in increments as Henny walked through Augsburg's streets, and it turned a marvellous shade of pinkish red as Henny arrived at Walter Gerhardt's doorstep. The sunrise was very beautiful, but Henny hadn't been afforded the time to gawp and stare. She had more important matters to attend to. She's a woman of action! A woman of like direction and action. I love this. I like her. I like a woman who just does things. Yeah. I like a woman who just goes and does shit. That doesn't dilly dally. That's my kind of woman. Walter's maids had been beginning to stir when Henny set her knuckles to the door and rapped, anxious all the while that she would be taken for a beggar, and turned away. Henny's clothes, once neatly pressed, had endured quite the battering during her wanderings in the woods. Her apron had been torn and flecked with dirt, and the soles of her shoes were encrusted with the stuff. Henny's cheeks and hands had been marred with cuts, and her fingernails had been rendered opaque with mud. She had looked so very grimy. She would not have been at all surprised if Walter's servants had called the bailiffs on her. Her appearance had not been one which would inspire confidence, nor invitations inside Walter's spacious drawing room. Henny had fretted that Walter's housekeeper might send her away in disgrace. Despite her fears, however, Henny had refused to move. It had been too important that she speak to Walter, that she speak to somebody. She had known as she stood there that she needed somebody to listen to her. Henny had knocked and knocked, her knuckles sore against the wood, until she had finally heard the sound of oncoming footsteps. The door had opened, and before Henny stood Walter's housekeeper, a tall, austere woman called Gertrude Schreiber, whom Henny had met twice before. Henny had recognized Gertrude in all her straight blonde hair. For a housekeeper, she was unusually young, but it had taken Gertrude several moments longer to recognize Henny. She had appeared ready to slam the door in Henny's begrimed face, her expression one of revulsion, until Henny called out to her, "Oh, please, don't be alarmed. I know what it looks like, but I'm not a beggar. It's me, Henrique. Henrique. Ah, I'm so bad at that name. I keep adding Henrique. K? I keep adding that to the end. I know that's not right. Henrika. Henrika. Care? Care? I'm addicted to it, I fear. Lady Micah's maid. I've come here on her behalf to let you know there's been an accident. A horrible accident. I need to speak to your master at once. It's very important. Please, let me have a word with her and Gerhardt. Her Gerhardt. That's a typo. Henny's cries for help must have been effusive enough to thaw even Gertrude's icy exterior. For the housekeeper's expression had eventually softened. Gertrude promised in clip tones that she would allow Henny to speak to her master. But not before she made herself presentable. Oh, there's a portrait for her. Oh, she's very austere. That's interesting. She's quite austere. Very much. That's how a housekeeper needs to be. Very strict and proper like that. But I'm not sure about her hair. It's very interesting that her hair is loose. That's an interesting design choice. I don't care what it is you've been through. You might have been savaged by wolves in the woods for all I care. Whatever it is you have endured, I will not let you see my master like that. It would reflect poorly upon me as his housekeeper if I let all the riffraff of the streets into his home. You will need a bath first at the very least. And we must do something about your clothes too. Why, you look as though you've been dragged through a hedge backwards. And he tried to impress upon Gertrude the importance of what it was she had to communicate. There are things more important than clothes. But Gertrude, being Gertrude, had none of it. Icily unimpressed by Henny's pleas, Gertrude had made it clear that Henny would have a bath at least, before she would be allowed within spitting distance of her master. This is a great privilege, you know. Hot water is a rare commodity. My own girls are not often afforded this luxury. You ought to be grateful. Henny was grateful, she supposed, that Gertrude had allowed her into the Gerhardt home at all, but she had been so less so at her insistence that her news could wait until all the dirt had been scrubbed from between her fingers and toes. Henny had known full well while she bathed that Micah could have been languishing in a prison cell, or worse still, being put to death. It had taken almost 2 hours before Gertrude was satisfied by Henny's appearance, at which point the sun had risen and the last vestiges of the night had been swept away. Henny had not been permitted a chance to sleep throughout the night, save for the brief spell where she had been unconscious in Magdalena's cell. Though neater after her bath, her skin washed free of filth and her body shrouded in a clean uniform identical to the one which Walter's serving drudges wore. Henny still felt exhausted to the point of delirium. Shockingly, Gertrude, I have been dragged about and fought monsters like wolves. Thanks, lady. Yeah, very common attitude for housekeepers of the time, though. Like, it is their job to make sure the main house is presentable and suits the master's tastes, I fear. And it is less a reflection of Gertrude's character and more a reflection of what the master puts up with, probably. Like, he is probably just a very strict man, and he wouldn't have talked to her at all. Like, a housekeeper's standards are more reflective of the master of the house than they are of the actual housekeeper, in most cases. She's just trying to keep a job, I think. Like, that's my hope. Because we've already seen that he's a strict man. Like, they described him as a very strict businessman. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case in his household as well. Henny had been so tired she had feared she would collapse before she was able to properly explain to Walter the dangers his fiancée had found herself in. But Henny had known that she had to try. Go, you got this. I believe in you, Henny. Oh, yeah, no, look at this bastard. Look at him, he's ridiculous. Look at this guy. Bro's got the Alucard chin, though. Look at him, he's crazy. Why is he kind of... If I didn't know he was already human, I'd be like, that's another vampire. He looks so ridiculous. Oh my god. It had been a little after 9 o'clock that Henny had been permitted early to Walter Gerhardt's study, wherein she had found the master of the manor, cleanly shaven and sipping a cup of tea. Walter had seemed surprised to see Henny and regarded her initially with some confusion. Oh, she's so cute. Look at her. Cute, 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 cute. Goodness me. I did not think when Gertrude said I had a visitor that it would be you. Ah, yes, there he is, dead behind the eyes. Probably should be a vampire looking so lifeless. I think this artist is a lot better at drawing lively women. She's doing it a massive amount of effort, and I appreciate her effort in making men look lively and realistic too, but I fear that they're better at drawing women. That's okay. That's okay. They're actually still pretty good at drawing men. I think he's just kind of sucks, and that's what the art is communicating. They put a lot of character work into the designs in here and the way they draw people, and I think that's very cool. You are Frau Henrike. See, I did it again! Henrika. That's the... I keep doing it. It's like a tick. Correct? My mic is made? Oh. He refers to her as his Micah. That's interesting. Henny had not liked the way that Walter had said my Micah. The wedding had yet to be held, and now perhaps it never would be. But she had swallowed her distaste regardless. She had always been trying to tell Micah, after all, that she should be happy at her future wedding to Walter. Walter was a good man, Henny had told herself. A gentleman, despite his lowly origins. He had been born from nothing, and with a series of shrewd investments had built himself an empire. He cared for Micah. The possessive manner in which he spoke of her proved it, and he would surely rush to her side once he knew of her plight. That had been Henny's hope, at least, as she stood in Walter's study. Yes, that is right, Herr Gerhardt. I am Henrika. I caught myself. I'm flattered that a great man such as you remembers a lowly maid like me. But of course I remember you. We've not been afforded the opportunity to speak, but you and my Micah are as thick as thieves. One can scarcely be seen without the other. In that sense, you're very like a pair of conjoined twins. You could be a modern medical marvel, almost. Walter had laughed at this, a sound which had seemed rather inappropriate to Henny after she had endured so many horrors the night prior. Walter had not yet known, of course, about the bandits and the bloody violence they had wrought. And Magdalena. But Henny thought he could at least have looked concerned that his fiancée, who had been supposed to visit him the day prior, was nowhere in evidence. Did he not care that Mike had vanished seemingly into thin air? Perhaps he had consoled himself, as all men of great import do, that nothing had gone wrong, nothing could go wrong, given his vast riches. He must have reassured himself the night that Micah's carriage had been waylaid by some innocent purpose, perhaps a faulty wheel, or a need for new horses. He had not, after all, been worrying of Micah and her welfare. He did not care. Speaking of which, Walter had leant forward his chair, his laughter ceasing, to examine Henny with a newfound degree of thought. I do not see your twin with you right now. Is my lovely Micah not in your company? About that... Oh, don't tell me she fell sick on the journey here. That would be truly heartbreaking. I hate to think of my dear fiancé convalescing in some miserable inn on the roadside. No, that isn't quite it, you see. Then she is not sick? Where the devil is she, then? Don't tell me she's having cold feet. Did she send you here, Frau Henrika, to break my heart in her stead? Seems unlike Micah, her being one of the fairest of her sex, but if her parents are having second thoughts... It isn't that either. Lady Micah's not sick, but I'm afraid she might be irreversibly so if you don't do something to save her. Oh, Herr Gerhardt, it's awful what happened. You'll hardly believe it. If you'd seen what I'd seen, if you knew what I knew, then... Oh! It was horrible, it was. Simply horrible, like something from a nightmare. We were travelling through the woods, Herr Gerhardt, the von Essens and me, your Micah included, when we were set upon by bandits. They stormed the carriage and they demanded... I don't rightfully remember, but they asked for all sorts. They asked for jewels, and when that weren't enough, they went after the gold, and when that weren't enough, they took out their blades, and... By Jove! Walter's face by this point had turned very pale. All traces of merriment similarly dispersed. They didn't harm my Micah, did they? They meant to, Herr Gerhardt, but they couldn't finish the job. They made short work of Lord and Lady von Essen, and their coachman too, the poor bastard. But they didn't get their grubby hands on Lady Micah, I saw to that. I took her hand during the hubbub and led her out into the woods. We ran and we ran and we ran, but the bandits were fast and they gained on us. I feared all was lost, but then... But then? Walter leant closer still, almost driving his elbow into his half-drunk cup of Earl Grey as he did so. What happened, Frau Henrika? Surely you and Micah must have survived, else you would not be standing here now, looking shaken, I admit, but in one piece. Please, tell me my Micah was all right. That is to say, Heine had thought nothing of nothing save talking to Walter Gerhardt ever since her flight from Magdalena's abode. But at this crucial moment she found herself quite at a loss. How could she tell Walter Gerhardt of Magdalena? It sounded ridiculous, the sort of tale which could exist only within the pages of penny dreadfuls. Dracula was a well-known figure even among the literati, who considered Gothic horror beneath them, but he had no place in up-late society. One did not simply discuss vampires out in the open, in oak-panelled studies such as Walter's, not to well-dressed wealthy men, who had made their mundane fortunes in mundane affairs, like the railways. Henny did not know Walter particularly well, but she could tell from his clothes and his demeanour that he fancied himself a staunch rationalist. It had been immediately obvious that such a man would never hold with vampires. Even Henny herself, being born to a superstitious mother who wore about her neck a lucky rabbit's foot, could scarcely credit what she had seen. It had been blatantly unbelievable. She would not have believed it were she in Walter's position, but she had no choice but to, after all she had witnessed. She had seen those bandits torn to pieces before her eyes, smelt their blood and heard their screams. Their deathsism had imprinted themselves upon her eyelids like a tableau. She saw it when she blinked, her thoughts steeped in crimson. How could she make Walter see what she had seen? How could she make him understand? Henny had feared it would be a tall order, particularly given her limited vocabulary. Micah had always been better at describing things than she, but she had known she had to try. As there was nothing else for it, Henny forced herself to swallow down her anxiety. It had tasted strangely enough of cod liver oil, and begin her missive. She told Walter of the mysterious woman who had come to their rescue, who had pulverized the skulls and spines of the pursuing bandits as a child might crumple crepe paper. She told him of awakening in a darkened cell with only one window, of meeting Magdalena, and of the ultimatum Micah had struck with her. Henny had relayed a good deal of information to Walter, and as she had seen him shifting. Walter had examined her, not with fear as she hoped, but with something far harder to ascertain. Was it perplexity, perhaps, or worse, pity? Henny had known, even before Walter spoke, that it was a lost cause. Convincing Walter of Micah's plight had been her only task, and she had failed. "No, baby girl. No. I'll make you feel better, baby girl." She had not been able to sway him. He had not believed her. "It is quite the tale, Frau Henrika." "No, it isn't a tale, it's true. I tell you every last word of it. Lady Micah has been imprisoned by a vampire, and if I don't act in quickly, she'll be drained of all blood and will soon die. Yes, I did hear. That would be awful indeed were it true, but it is true, Herr Gerhardt. I swear it's true on my own mom's life. I wouldn't tell such a great pack of fibs, not over something so important. I can't imagine that you wouldn't know. I know little of you, but I am aware of your loyalty to my dear Micah. She trusts you with her life, or so I've gathered, more so than she trusts me. She flinches away from all of my caresses, but she isn't half so cold towards your affections. Then surely you must be able to see that I'm being honest. This is a matter of life and death. My lady's very life is at stake. Yes, indeed, I understand. Will you send out a search party then? It isn't too late. Micah's life might still be spared if only you act. I suppose it would be in your best interest to believe that, yes. Some dumb spero and all that. I beg your pardon? Oh, forgive me my bad habit. It's Latin, Cicero. It means while I breathe, I hope. As you survived your ordeal, Frau Henrika, it would behoove you to cling to the belief that young Lady von Essen might still live, but alas, it seems rather unlikely, don't you think, after all you have related? No, Herr Gerhardt, what I said is nothing but the truth. You have to believe me. And like I said, I do believe you. About the bandits, at least. Unfortunate though that is, it really is a bloody business. I can accept, however, unwillingly, that this did indeed come to pass. It is not inconceivable that Lord and Lady von Essen met their demise thus. Vita incerta, mors certissima. Man, he's so annoying. Why insert Latin into your speech when you know the other person doesn't know Latin? It's so rude. As for your talk of vampires, however, this is something I cannot accept. No sensible man could. What you have related would go down very well, I am certain, in the company of writers. They are a careless, feckless sort, but it will hold no water with me. You must have hit your head, Frau Henrika, while running from those bandits. That or your fear has undone you. Not that I blame you. You must have enjoyed a good deal from a member of the fairer sex. Why, even most men, I fear, would have gone to pieces, circumstances being what they were. Your thoughts have been addled. Your delusions. Walt had stressed this word, his fingers stapled together upon his escritory. About vampires are nothing more than a coping mechanism to soften the reality of the situation. Micah, too, must have perished. What? No! Herr Gerhardt, please! Henny had tried to appeal to Walter's sympathies, but in vain. One look at Walter's countenance, now closed off, had told Henny all she needed to know. Walter had thought her quite insane. I think a spell of bed rest would do you some good, Frau Henrika. Though you are not one of my servants, I am not so very unkind that I would cast you out onto the streets. You have witnessed horrors I can only guess at, and I am very sorry for your loss. You may remain here if you wish, for as long as you feel the need to. Get some rest, and do try to calm down. I will summon a physician to look over you in the meanwhile, to see if anything is awry. I suppose I also ought to summon the police, once you've had a chance to rest, so you might give them an account of what you witnessed in the woods. They'll be very interested in the fates of Lord and Lady von Essen, and of my Micah too. I would advise you against telling them all this malarkey about vampires, however. I fear they may be less understanding than I, and you may be hauled to an asylum for your troubles. I would not want you to be incarcerated for it, Frau Henrika. And I doubt my Micah would want that either. It is a miracle you were able to escape with your life. Do not waste it. Remember, Oquum cito transit gloria mundi. Now you are dismissed. Gertrude will show you to new lodgings, if you would be so kind. Yes, Herr Gerhardt. Right away, sir. Gertrude, who had been standing in one corner of Walter's study as unobtrusive as a houseplant, made to escort Henny to the servants' quarters. Henny had cast her gaze back to Walter before she left, her brow furrowed. Walter had begun to sip once more at his breakfast tea, as though he had not a care in the world. The sight of Walter drinking his tea as if it were any other Monday had filled Henny with the sudden urge to take the teapot and upend its contents all over Walter's officious-looking face. But powerful though this urge was, Henny had abstained. What would that accomplish? It would not help Micah. Making an enemy of Walter Gerhardt would only serve to render Henny homeless, cast out onto the streets with nowhere else to turn. Begrudgingly, Henny followed Gertrude, the door of Walter's study closing behind her with a thud. Henny had then spent the rest of that day convalescing in bed in the dingy servants' quarters. Walter was a man of his word, if nothing else, and he had summoned a physician later in the day to look Henny over. The physician gave Henny a brief examination, then declared that she was physically fit, but mentally exhausted. A day or two of bed rest would do her good. She has something of a fever and seems distracted. The physician's report had been so mild, Henny could have laughed in his face. Was it any wonder she seemed distracted when even now Micah, her Micah, not Walter's, was Magdalena's thrall, languishing in all likelihood in a dungeon? Henny wished to fly to Micah's side, but could not. She was more exhausted than she had anticipated, and lying down made it more so. Dazed and disoriented, Henny had begun to drift in and out of slumber. Her dreams were broken, yet largely featured Micah, her eyes wide, lips parted in a horrible scream. Henny had slept so much during the day that when night fell, she had found herself unable to rest. Walter's scullery maids, upon appearing in their quarters, had regarded Henny with some surprise. They fell upon her with curious questions, all buzzing excitedly, like so many moths drawn to a brightly flickering flame. "Where are you from?" the girls asked. And "When did you arrive here?" And "How long will you be here?" Henny had been in no fit state to answer these questions, however. She had been almost relieved when the sour-faced Gertrude came to scold her underlings for their rowdy misconduct. "Oh, do leave Frau Henrika alone. She has had a trying series of days by all accounts, and she needs to rest." That is what Herr Gerhard has decreed, and I'll not have any of your naughty girls disobeying his orders. Now stop with your silly chatter. I doubt Frau Henrika much wants to listen to you, and your friendly overtures are all in vain. She is not one of our servants, and I doubt she'll be staying here much longer. Gertrude's stern address seemed to do the trick, for the maids kept a wide berth from Henny throughout the night. They talked among themselves and played cards, and only occasionally did they glance at her. Curious, no doubt, about these trying days Henny had endured. The maids had eventually begun to yawn, and at 10 o'clock they took to their beds, snuffling stores and creaking bed frames, soon filling the room. The 6 scullery maids in Walter's employ all slept, but Henny found she could not. She's so cute! Look at her out, look at her little, look at her pajamas, they're so cute! Oh my god. Cute. Ah! I want to bite. She's so cute that I want to bite. That's normal, right? I fear that this is where we must leave things off. But we've had a very fun stream chat. I'm very happy. And with that, I think I'm done. Let's see who's live. Let's see how we can wait. Wow. Oh. Let's wait Toshi. Toshi's playing Demonologist with Wicked. And she's having a spooky time, and it's so cool. I don't know. Oh, Wolfie's also there. Wolfie, I like Wolfie. Let's get him. Hang on. Cancel wait. I need to give you the raid message. I need to give you the Wade message. Hang on. There's the Wade message. Okay. There you go. You guys got it? You got it, right? Let's start Wade. You can use emotes if you want to. I just forget what, I forgot what emotes are free, so I don't know what to use. What to suggest for you. But yeah, let's get her. Violence.